call.
There are marked chairs, so please spread out more if you can. Make sure you keep your masks on. That still all applies during the meeting, so. Again, if you are here and you plan on conducting any sort of, if you're a senator, you need to be on the Zoom call to be able to make motions and things like that. So if you're going to be elected as a student senator, please, please, please hop on the call, but you will need to mute both all of your microphone and the sound out of your computer. Both need to be muted entirely, but you need access to the Zoom chat for some of the stuff that we're going to do. So you have to be present on the call. Awesome. If you're on the Zoom call, can you also let us know if you can hear us? I just want to make sure it's working.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
can hear you.
Thank you, Marcus. Awesome. So if everyone in here could try to do that, we want to get started in a timely manner. We might start a couple minutes after though, just to make sure everyone has a chance to get on. But also, again, if you see the instructions on the screen right now, feel free to change your name in the change name feature to what your title is. That's always fun. So. But yeah, we'll get started in just a minute or two. Yeah, we'll give it just a couple more just to make sure everyone can get in. Also, if you aren't aware, Maggie put in the chat what's called Senate shout outs. Those are just fun little like congrats that we give people. So if you have any shout outs you want at the end of the meeting, fill that out. We're gonna give it just like another minute or two, just to make sure. I just like to be safe before we get started. Again, please make sure to hop on the Zoom call if you're a senator. Again, make sure you mute. Double check right now that you've muted both your mic and your computer sound. No, we don't want that bad screechy feedback. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started now. Yeah, it looks like we still have some people trickling in, so I'm glad that I waited. Sorry, I didn't mean to at you, Madison. With that, again, please see the little Zoom instructions right now. Please make sure to keep, if you're on the Zoom call, keep your audio video muted. Please do that, particularly if you're here in person with us. And then make sure that you keep like the Zoom chat like limited to like basic business. Like you can DM people if you need to, but we'll use that for motions and stuff later in the meeting. If I need a motion made, I'll just ask if someone can type so moved, because I know it gets really hard and difficult to type all that out. So you can just type those in the chat later. Make sure to change your name. Oh, I haven't done that yet, so I'll do that. Change your name because it's really fun. And we enjoy being able to like see everyone and just know who's who when we're on the call. Voting, we actually don't have a lot to vote on tonight, and we have a Google form for the big thing, so not that big a deal there. Please don't direct message me. I know people sometimes have things come up, but I will lose it and it'll mess up my order, so I'd appreciate that. And again, since we're in this weird hybrid format, just be patient and have fun with everything that we're going to do. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'll get our agenda pulled up, and then we will go ahead and get started. Give me just a sec. Okay, awesome. Here we are. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call the first meeting of the new term of Student Senate to order. We are going to forego the Pledge of Allegiance, since there is no flag in here and there's some people on Zoom. So instead we'll proceed right into our land acknowledgement. So I want to begin our Student Senate meeting that's taking place on Thursday, April 8th, 2021 with the land acknowledgement. We recognize that Kansas State University is the first land-grant institution, sits on the ancestral lands of the Kaw people. Our state of Kansas is the home of 4 federally recognized Native nations, the Iowa, Kickapoo, Prairie Band Potawatomi, and Sac and Fox. We must remember that the land serving as the foundation for this institution was, and still is, stolen land acquired by white settlers, and we pledge our commitment to creating decolonized spaces at the university while advocating for the support and future success of Indigenous faculty, staff, and students. With that, we will now move into our first roll call period. So that'll be with Speaker Pro Tempore Billman. So Maggie is just going to read the roll call by last names. If you are here, you can just shout out here. If you're in person, if you're on the Zoom call, feel free to either unmute yourself and shout it out, or you're also welcome to type it in the chat, whichever is more convenient for you, wherever you are. So Maggie, I'll give it to you to take it away.
Yes. This is the first of two meetings that I'll be taking roll. However, if I mispronounce your name, please correct me. I want you to correct me. I want to get your name right. It's like the least I can do. So, with that, Atchison, Bain, Bannister, Binkley, Blood, Booze, Kahlo, oh, thank you. Oh, I typed 7 instead of yes. Carr, Colburn, Comas, thank you. Crosslow, Cunningham, thank you. Demott, Diaz de Leon, Doc,
Here.
thank you. Elliot, thank you. Insero, thank you. Esslinger, Farthing, Frederick, Glasscock, Grills, Grolmus, Holland, Jambunathan, Kidd,
Here.
Koch, Kramer, Kulkarni, Lane, Lister, Long, Lundeen, Lux, Lynn, Marquez,
Here.
May,
Here.
Mayor, Monteith, Nelson, O'Donoghue, Oding, Phillips, Pineda Gomez, Prester, Ryman, oh, sorry, that was gross. Richenberg, Riffle, Rodriguez, Saya, Salmon, Shear, Spleakle, Stout, Taha, Thomas, Volgamore, Wallace, Warren, and Willis. Awesome. Is there anyone whose name I did not call? With that, we have 53 senators present.
Awesome. With that, we'll now move into our first open period. Typically, we have speakers lined up for this, but because we have some pretty hefty agendas the next few weeks, we don't have anyone lined up. But I do always have to ask, is there anyone who would like to speak for our first open period this evening? If you are on the Zoom chat as well, please feel free to indicate so in the chat that you'd like to speak. Awesome. Seeing none, we will proceed on with our agenda. Next up on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. So the minutes from the final Student Senate meeting last week were sent out yesterday to all of last year's senators. So you should have received them if you were a senator last year. So I know not everyone received them, but if so, I would need a motion from someone to approve the minutes. Senator Atchison has moved in the chat. And Senator Phillips seconded. Are there any objections to approving those minutes? Seeing none, you all will start to receive minutes of your meetings coming forward. Next up, we will move into announcements for tonight. So for announcements, if you'll scroll down, if you're on your own computer, it's on like the third page of the agenda. And there's a decent amount this week because it's kind of hefty. So I just wanted to cover them with everyone. So first off, welcome to the SGA term. Everyone give yourselves a round of applause. Yay. Awesome. I can't tell you how excited it is for me to like be in person with so many people after a year ago not being in person at this very same time. So it's really exciting. And I think it makes us appreciate the small things in life. So just as a general reminder on how often SGA meets, we have Student Senate every week of the school year. So on every Thursday, you'll want to put on your calendar at 7 p.m. Student Senate, except for the first week of each semester, we will never have Student Senate. We also will never have Senate on dead week or finals week. So basically like every week out of a semester, except for those three, so like beginning and end, you can plan on having Student Senate. And our term will go from now until basically about a year from now, around the first week of April-ish. It changes a little bit depending on like the calendar and spring break and stuff. But you can plan on having that next spring as well. So welcome to your new position. Kind of on that point, I did want to cover the SGA attendance policy and what that looks like for everyone, just so everyone can be kind of all caught up. So if you aren't aware, a total of 3 unexcused absences from Student Senate is grounds for expulsion. So you basically lose your place as a student senator if your absence is unexcused. And then a total number of absences, excused or unexcused, that exceeds half the meetings in the term will be grounds for expulsion. So that would be like, we had 27 meetings in the past term, so that would mean that you're missing like 14 meetings then would be over half. So pretty hard to hit that point if you're showing up somewhat regularly, but I did want to put that on everyone's radar. Again, in determining whether an absence is excused or unexcused, basically everything is excused. This is all I copied out of our statutes, but this says notified more than 24 hours in advance, but even something after 24 hours, as long as you reach out to the speaker, that still falls under these categories can be excused if it's like special case. So that's any academic purpose is obviously excused. So a scheduled class, a study or review session, or any exams that you might have. Non-recurring participation in an extracurricular activity. So if you have like the same club week after week that you're missing for, that wouldn't be unexcused, but like, you know, a single event, like you're at a conference one week for some club, that would be excused. Any sort of work-related circumstances, any sort of mental or physical health circumstances, any reasons related to disability, religious observances, or any other characteristic protected by law, any family emergencies, and finally, anything else that the Speaker of the Senate wants to give. Those of you who weren't at new Senator orientation, we were talking about what questions to ask speaker candidates. Attendance policy would be a great thing to ask about if you have concerns there. A third announcement for tonight is that SGA t-shirts are coming. And if you're a new senator, you are welcome to order one. That's actually going to close, I think, tomorrow, correct, Michael? Okay, so after Senate tonight. So if you are interested in ordering an SGA t-shirt, the contact information is right there. Parliamentarian Michael Arnold is taking care of that. So we kind of did it during this time, so all the outgoing people could get t-shirts, but also all of you incoming members as well could. So if you'd like a t-shirt, please Venmo Michael Arnold. And then if you want to pay in cash, I think he accepts that. He did a weird drug deal in front of all of Student Senate last week. So, but if you would like to get a t-shirt, follow up with Michael regarding that. Next up is that the city of Manhattan has sent us a survey, and this survey is actually going to close tomorrow. So during this meeting, if you have time, I would encourage you to fill it out and take it. They're starting a new strategic initiative called Crossroads MHK, and it's about like revitalizing some like city services, programs, and a wide variety of things. And it's particularly important that college students are represented and our needs are considered in that process as well. So please take a moment to fill out that survey if you have a chance to. That'll be really awesome. And I think that the city and your fellow students would appreciate it. Another thing that I wanted to spend a second of time on is our applications. We have a wide variety of applications that are currently open for other positions in our organization right now. So I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of those. First off, the executive branch cabinet. So if you would like to be a director of some specific policy area that would work for our student body president and vice president, that application is listed on there as well. Michael Dowd, our student body president-elect, will be student body president after he's sworn in tonight, will be the point person for that if you have any questions about those positions and what they'll be doing in the upcoming year. You, by the way, cannot be in like multiple branches at the same time. So like if you got a cabinet position, you would have to resign your senator position. Don't let that ever hold you back though from any positions that you think would be interesting. So I'd encourage you to like look through that form if you have interest in any of those areas on campus. Also, the Senate Executive Committee application is also live. So that is for the 6 committee chairs that are in Student Senate, as well as the Student Senate parliamentarians, so Michael's position. That one is live as well. You can't be a senator and parliamentarian at the same time, but you can be a senator and a committee chair at the same time. And a reminder for those who might not know, we have 6 committees. So our 3 like funding or like finance committees, we have our privilege fee committee that manages how that money is spent. We have our travel allocations and on-campus allocations committees that allocate funds to student organizations that are either traveling to conferences or hosting events on our campus. And for 3 like projects, that's how I like to refer to them, committees, we have Senate operations, which manages like internal operations of Senate, help with elections, helps fill vacancies, etc. A lot of things in that area. We have a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee that focuses on advocating for like a more equitable and inclusive campus and a more equitable SGA as well. And then we finally have our governmental relations committee. They're kind of like our advocacy wing that works to advocate for students at like the local or like state levels. So those are all the different committees. And if you're interested in chairing or leading one of those groups, I would encourage you to fill out that application. If you have questions, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to connect you with the like former chair or former position holder who would be able to tell you how to do that. We also have a communications director application that's currently live. So someone who manages like SGA's social media presence and a variety of other communications. Where's Marissa? She just showed up. Marissa is the former communications director. If you have questions, ask her about the role. Also for intern coordinators. So we, as student government, actually runs an intern program. Many of you were a part of it. But for those who weren't, it's a program designed to help educate and get students involved on SGA. Where's our 2 intern coordinators? Hannah and Megan were the intern, they're in the back of the room. They were our intern coordinators this past year and held that position. That's a really fun one. I was intern coordinator 2 years ago and loved it. So it's a really fun role if you're interested in helping educate a bunch of new students and empowering them in SGA. And then the last application is treasurer. So our treasurer actually manages SGA's own internal budget. And they also work with a lot of those allocations committees that I brought up earlier. They work with those student organizations pretty directly on allocating them the finances and approving any sort of transactions that they might have as well. So that's a pretty critical and time invested position as well. So, and again, for all of those like independent positions, so those last 3 I read, you cannot be a senator and those positions simultaneously as well. But all of these remaining applications close on Friday, April 16th at 11:59 p.m. So you have like a little over a week if you are interested in being in those positions. All of them have interviews associated with them as well. More details can be found on that application. So if you're interested in any, open it up, take a look, and get involved. Proxies for this week, actually see Marcus Kidd did show up, so he doesn't need a proxy anymore. But Natalia Rodriguez is a proxy for Fisher Carr tonight. That one I received later. So Natalia, you're our only proxy tonight. Next up, we do an SGA member of the week each week. So the SGA member of the week this week is our SGA advising team. One of our advisors, Kelly Ferris, is in the back. They're the members of the week this week. If you haven't gotten the chance to meet a lot of them, so Kelly advises the legislative branch, so that's me and Maggie primarily that she helps with. She attends student senate meetings, but then we also have Andy Thompson, who's the judicial branch advisor. Dr. Lane is the executive branch advisor. Jennifer Owensby advises the privilege fee committee. Amy Lee is the CSI accountant, so she helps out with stuff. She's not technically an advisor, but she helps out with a bunch. And then Adrian Rodriguez advises the Senate Executive Committee. So we actually had a little SGA ice cream social last week for an end of the year, and they all showed up and helped us with that. That was really awesome of them. So thank you all for your help. We really appreciate you with those types of events during the year. Next up, you can see the upcoming events calendar for next week. Not a lot. It's just Student Senate next week at 7 p.m. and then all those applications closing. And then for our quote of the week this week, it is go as far as you can see. When you get there, you will be able to see further. And that's from Thomas Carlyle. So with that, we will move into the next item on our agenda, which is actually the installation of the Student Buddy President and Vice President. So Tell and Michael, Tell, if you'd like to swear in Michael, this is his chance to get sworn in.
Repeat after me. I'm going to have you repeat after me. I do so solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of Student Body President and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Congratulations, sir.
Lane and Cameron, where are you guys at? So next is our student body vice president. Woo.
Please repeat after me. Okay, I'm just asking nicely. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of Student Body Vice President and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State Student Governing Association.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association.
Awesome. Wait. Okay. Sorry, we didn't do introductions, and we are going to do all of them tonight. So Michael, come back down. Cameron, you as well. You guys have to introduce yourself to everyone who doesn't know you. And the traditional SGA introduction is name, major, hometown, and favorite smell. So Michael, you can go first.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael Dowd. I am majoring in animal science and global food systems leadership from Spring Hill, Kansas. I'm a junior this year. And yeah, my favorite smell probably is like, my ag kids will or ag students will probably agree with this. Like the smell of like fresh wood shavings, especially when you like just put them out. That's kind of the best thing in the world, so.
Yeah, guys, I'm Cameron Koger. I'm from Overbrook, Kansas, tiny town. I'm majoring in marketing, and my favorite smell is newly elected Senate.
Awesome. So we're actually going to do the same thing for all of you. It will be quicker. You're not going to have to repeat everything. But we're going to do swearing in by college now for all senators. If you are only on the Zoom call, you are also free to unmute yourself, both your video and audio, so that way we can like see you. Raise your hand, and then I'll have everyone introduce themselves really quick. This is going to take a little while, but also it's really important that you get to know who your fellow senators are. So first up, College of Agriculture. Woo! Okay, so all of you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, awesome, we have all of you in person. Okay, so you guys are all going to raise your right hand, and at the end, you just need to say, I will, okay? You don't have to repeat it all. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome, okay, again, name, major, hometown, favorite smell for all of you.
Awesome. So my name is Bryson Warren. I am currently from Odell, Nebraska, studying Ag Econ, and my favorite smell is probably vanilla.
My name is Parker Volgamore. I'm also a sophomore studying Ag Economics pre-law. I'm from the western Kansas town of Scott City, and my favorite smell is probably let's say after a fresh rain.
Hi, my name is Caleb Stout. I'm a freshman, also studying Ag Economics and pre-law. I'm from Cottonwood Falls. It's a pretty small town. I know one of you has heard of it, Tanner, Braden. My favorite smell is, I'm gonna have to go with leather.
My name is Eli Esslinger, also studying Ag Econ. I'm from Anthony, Kansas. I guess my favorite smell would probably have to agree with Parker is rain.
My name is Bryce Atchison. I'm from Tonganoxie, Kansas. Currently majoring in agricultural education with a secondary major in global food systems leadership. And my favorite smell is silage.
Hi, my name is Mason Prester. I'm a sophomore studying agriculture education. I'm from Wilson, Kansas, if anyone knows where that's at. And my favorite smell is fresh cut grass.
Hi, my name is Jack Meyer. I'm a sophomore studying ag econ. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, and my favorite smell is probably boots.
You're free to go. We've got like. Next up, College of Architecture. Woo! I just didn't realize. I'm all about efficiency. Okay, awesome. If the two of you want to raise your right hand and at the end say, I will. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome. Name, major, hometown, favorite smell.
Hi, my name is Melody Holland. I'm from Normal, Illinois, and I'm a second year studying landscape architecture. And I'd say my favorite smell is probably a freshly peeled orange.
Hi, I'm Tanner Koch. I'm from Cottonwood Falls, as Caleb said before. Really small town, but it's kind of cool to be here. I'm studying architecture with a minor in leadership and a minor in regional community planning. And my favorite smell is freshly cut grass.
You guys have a picture. Okay, next up, the big one, arts and sciences. Woo! There's like 13 of them. There's a lot. It's like double what we've had already. Okay. And again, if you're on the Zoom call, feel free to unmute. We'll call you last for like introductions. Awesome. So you guys know the drill. Raise your right hand at the end, say I will. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome. Name, major, hometown, favorite smell.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa Lux. I'm a communication studies major from Olathe, Kansas. And my favorite smell, I'm a junior. And my favorite smell is anything chocolate.
Hi guys, my name is Jackson Willis. I'm a poli-sci strat-com major and I'm a junior. And my favorite smell is apple cider.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Bromas. I'm a sophomore and my major is communication studies. I'm from Topeka, Kansas, and my favorite smell is like lemon sugar cookies. So good. It's very specific. I loved it.
Hi, everybody. My name is Durga Jamunathan. I'm a junior majoring in psychology, minoring in gender, women, and sexuality studies. I'm from Shawnee, Kansas, and my favorite smell is freshly brewed coffee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lily Colburn. I am a junior from Manhattan, Kansas, and I'm studying political science, environmental science, and nonprofit leadership. And my favorite smell, I'm going to stick to the old eucalyptus mint.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lane Lundeen. I'm a senior studying fisheries, wildlife, and environmental biology and political science. And my favorite smell, I'm from Fowler, Kansas. My favorite smell is probably like cottonwood trees.
Sweet. I'm Marta Richenberg. I'm a sophomore. This is a lot, but I'm pre-law, double majoring history and political science, and a double minor in German and international studies. And then my favorite smell, Disney World has a very distinct smell, and it has to be my favorite. So all of them, they all smell good.
My name is Kate Thomas. I'm a freshman from Kansas City, Missouri, studying political science. And my favorite smell is cinnamon and coffee.
My name's Alexis Shear. I'm a sophomore from Topeka, Kansas, and I'm studying political science and international studies. And do you know the smell of like cold? That's my favorite smell.
My name is Jessica Binkley. I'm a freshman from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm majoring in psychology and pre-med, and my favorite smell is probably a tire shop.
My name is Ariana O'Donohue. I'm from Olathe, Kansas. I'm a freshman majoring in English and secondary education with political science minor. And my favorite smell would have to be like when you first walk into like an antique bookstore, this first smell that hits you.
If you're on the Zoom call and you want to unmute, if you're in arts and sciences and introduce yourself, we'd be happy to have you.
That's me.
Meredith.
I'm gonna leave my camera muted because I got vaccinated today, so it's a bit rough. But hi, I'm Meredith. I'm a freshman from Manhattan studying English literature, and my favorite smell is Earl Grey tea.
Okay, awesome. Did you get the picture of them? Okay, we're getting a picture, be friends, and then we're gonna move on. Business, woo! 1, 2. Fisher's not here. Okay. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Awesome. That's all of you. Okay. You should know the drill by now. Raise your right hand. Okay. At the end, say I will. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome.
Hi, so I'm Megan Sweekle. I'm currently a sophomore studying organizational management, pre-law, leadership, and professional strategic selling. And my favorite smell is mahogany teak wood.
Hi guys, my name is Allie DeMott. I'm a junior from Rockport, Missouri, studying human resources management and organizational management. And my favorite smell is oddly specific. It's like a sunny 65-degree day when like it's rained the last few days. It just smells really good.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vedant Kulkarni, and I'm a senior studying management information systems and mass communication with pre-law from Nashik, India. And my favorite smell will probably have to be Kedzie Hall. I want to say there's a very distinct smell when you walk in. Yeah.
Hi, guys. I'm Natalia Rodriguez. I'm from Gardner, Kansas, and Chihuahua, Mexico. My majors are human resources management and Spanish with a Spanish translation minor. And I am a junior. And my favorite smell is the Lush Twilight spray that is lavender tonka. That's the only thing that can put me to sleep.
All right. Well, my name's Blake Phillips. I'm currently a sophomore here in the College of Business, majoring in management information systems, and I'm from Tonganoxie, Kansas. My favorite smell, I just got a new Airwick at home, and it's raspberry honeysuckle. Definitely go check it out if you haven't.
Good one, yeah. My name's Ashley Grills. I am a sophomore studying human resources management from Overland Park, Kansas. And my favorite smell are all of those citrus scented candles. Like, I don't know if mango is citrus, honestly, but mango scented candles, that would probably be it.
My name's Will Bannister. I'm from here in the Little Apple, and I'm studying finance, economics, entrepreneurship with pre-law, and I'm minoring in leadership studies. My favorite smell, this is gonna sound weird, but is bleach. But it's like after you just wash your clothes and how your washer smells, not like from the container.
Take a picture. Education. I think there's only 2 of you in person. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So again, if you want to raise your right hand, and Ashley, if you're on the Zoom call, also feel free to unmute yourself if you want to. So you know the drill. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association.
I will.
Awesome. Ashley, if you want to go first, actually, since you're on the Zoom call.
Okay, my name is Ashley Elliott. I am a junior from Olathe, Kansas, studying elementary education and history, and my favorite scent is banana Laffy Taffy.
Awesome. And then you two.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Joshua Diaz de Leon. I see a lot of technical ed cats in here, so shame on you, y'all. But anywho, studying elementary education. I'm a sophomore, minoring in leadership studies. My favorite scent is either molasses or the basement of Bluemont Hall. So go check that out.
Awful. Hi, I'm Peyton Lynn. I'm a first-year student from Tonganoxie, Kansas. I am majoring in secondary education with a focus in speech and theater and minors in communication studies and English. And my favorite smell is a box of Fruit Loops.
Thank you.
Engineers, your time. And again, I don't know if any are on the Zoom call, but if you are, feel free to unmute and join us. Awesome. If this is everyone, raise your right hand. At the end, say I will. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome.
All right, hi guys. My name is Braden Taha. I'm a freshman from Lyman, Colorado. And my favorite, I'm majoring in civil engineering. And my favorite smell is wet concrete.
Hi, my name is Nick Saya. I'm also in civil engineering. I'm a freshman from Olathe, Kansas, and my favorite smell is any airport.
Hi, my name is Jacob Long. I'm a freshman in construction science and management. I'm from Olathe, Kansas. My favorite smell is cafe mochas. Hey everybody, my name is Creighton Glasscock. I'm a junior studying computer science and mathematics, minoring in physics. I'm from a little town called Manhattan, Kansas, and my favorite smell is the burning Kanza.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Boos. I am a junior in computer science from Olathe, Kansas. And at the moment, because it changes every once in a while, my favorite smell is right after a rain.
Hi, I am Luke Kramer. I'm a sophomore studying electrical engineering from Topeka, Kansas, and my favorite smell is an unscented candle.
Hey guys, I'm Carter Aiding. I'm a junior studying chemical engineering from Kingman, Kansas, and my favorite smell is my grandma's fresh chocolate chip cookies.
Nice. My name is Brian Blood. I'm from Roland Park, Kansas, majoring in industrial engineering with a minor in leadership studies and certificates in integrated risk management, international business, and primary texts. And my favorite smell is eucalyptus mint.
Hi, I'm Calvin Nelson. I'm a sophomore from Overland Park, Kansas. I'm studying electrical engineering, and my favorite smell is probably a fresh can of tennis balls.
Hi everyone, my name is Juan Pineda Gomez. I'm a freshman from Lenexa, Kansas, and studying biomedical engineering and minoring in political science. And my favorite smell would be right after it rains during the summer when you can smell the pavement and the grass. The best.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Next up is Health and Human Sciences. Woo. I think there's a couple people on the Zoom for this one as well. So again, feel free to unmute yourself so we can see you. You can raise your hand and get sworn in. Awesome. I see Michael and I think Aaron is also on. So if you guys are ready, you can raise your right hand and then at the end, you'll just say, I will. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association.
I will.
Awesome. Okay,
I will.
Aaron, if you want to go first, and then Michael, you guys can go.
Sure. So my name is Erin Rose May. I am from a small town in Northwest Kansas called Oberlin. I am majoring in an emphasis in pre-med, and I don't really have a specific favorite smell, but one of the top 100 favorite smells is definitely the local fair, because just, there's bacon grease, there's cotton candy, and cows.
Hello, I'm Michael Cunningham. I'm studying kinesiology. I'm a senior from Overland Park, Kansas, and my favorite smell is probably lavender.
Awesome. And then the three of you here in person.
Hi, I'm Madeira Lister. I'm from Spearfish, South Dakota. I'm a sophomore majoring in kinesiology and gerontology on a pre-physical therapy path. And my favorite smell is Shawn Mendes perfume #1.
Hi, I'm Emily Farthing. I'm from Overland Park, Kansas. I'm a freshman studying integrative physiology on a pre-OT track. And my favorite smell is Home Depot.
My name is RJ Solomon. I am a first year here at K-State studying personal financial planning with a minor in leadership studies and queer studies. And I'm from Olathe, Kansas. And my favorite smell is probably fresh strawberries.
Next up is the graduate school. If our graduate student senators want to come forward. And again, feel free to unmute if you're on the Zoom call. Awesome. So again, you guys should know the drill by now. Raise your right hand at the end, say I will. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome. Lauren, if you want to go first, and then Nathan, you want to go second from the Zoom, and then we'll do in person.
I'm Lauren Dog. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I am studying beef cattle nutrition. My favorite smell is probably freshly cut grass.
I'm Nathan Insero. I am a first-year grad student studying mass communications. I'm from Olathe, but I've been here so long, Manhattan's home. And my favorite smell is, when you've been like congested or had a cold or had allergies and you can't smell for a while, and then it starts to clear up and like your sinuses are just invaded by smell. That's my favorite smell.
Awesome. Now it's up to you guys.
I'm Laura Bain. I forgot all the things I'm supposed to say. I'm a second semester doctoral student studying nutrition related to, my background is in corrections, so nutrition as it relates to corrections. And I'm from Fremont, California, which is a suburb of San Francisco. And my favorite smell is the volcano candle from anthropology.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marcus Kidd. I'm a fourth year doctoral student in the College Student Development Program. I was born and raised here in Manhattan, Kansas, so I haven't really gone too far from home. My favorite scent is the new car scent, like trees that you put in your car. So.
Hello, everyone. My name is Donnie Riffle. I'm a first year master's student studying computer science from a small town on the edge of Western or Central, whatever you want to call it, Kansas, known as Stockton. And my favorite smell is like mountain air, preferably the Rockies.
Hi, everybody. I'm Billy Croslow. I'm a third year PhD student in history. I've just been advanced to my candidacy, so I'm about to work just on my research from now on. I am from Eagle River, Alaska. It's a small suburb outside of Anchorage. And my favorite smell is sandalwood, the soap I used to shave with when I shaved.
Okay, awesome. Last up, certainly not least, Vet Med. I don't think either of those two are in person. So if the two of you would like to unmute, there's Grace. I don't know if Christina, is Christina on? Can you scroll down, Michael?
Yes,
So
I'm
see.
here.
Oh, awesome. Sorry, you just didn't hop up to the top of our Zoom thing. Awesome. Grace and Christina, if you guys want to raise your hands at the end, you'll say, I will. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association.
I will.
I will.
Awesome. Grace and then Christina, if you guys want to go.
Hi, my name is Grace Callow. I'm from Floral Park, New York. I'm a first-year vet student, hoping to do small animal surgery, and my favorite smell is chocolate chip cookies.
Hi, I'm Christina from Olathe, Kansas. I'm also a first-year veterinary student, hoping to do surgery or neurology, and my favorite smell is vanilla.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay. And then I just want to check. Okay, sorry. We have one faculty senator representative as well, Justin Frederick. He works in the Office of Student Life. I don't think he's on the call though. Otherwise I'd get him sworn in too. But I don't think he's here tonight. So with that, that's your new term of senators. Give yourselves a big round of applause. With that finished, we are going to move on with our agenda. Give me just a sec to get that. Oh, it's still being screen shared. Awesome. So we will move on with our agenda for tonight. So after everyone's been sworn in, we now have a couple of commendations on our agenda. To be able to consider a piece of legislation and bring it before the body, I need a motion to consider Resolution 1. That's been moved by Senator Kroslow in the chat. And that's been seconded by Senator Atchison. Again, if you want to make a motion, I ask that you please do so in the chat, not by raising your hand, so that way we can have like equitable access between people on Zoom and then people in person as well. So it's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 1. If the author wants to please come forward, and you can just go over to kind of the podium where Michael is to read it.
Wait, I need this. All right, we're using this microphone. Yep. All right, this is Resolution 21-2201, commendation to the Open Alternative Textbook Initiative and the KSU Foundation regarding All In for K-State 2021 by Andrew Booz, Creighton Glasscock, and Blake Phillips. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association values the efforts of faculty, staff, and administrators in reducing the cost of textbooks and class materials for students. Whereas KSU SGA has a history of endorsing and working with programs to do so, such as through supporting the Open Alternative Textbook Initiative. Whereas KSU SGA passed Resolution 19-2063, opposition to Top Hat and other costly educational platforms on February 6, 2020, in order to raise attention regarding the unpredictable costs of and student displeasure for classroom response and online textbook systems. Whereas on March 24th, 2021, the KSU Foundation held the second All In for K-State event, a 24-hour period of philanthropic giving towards a single goal. Whereas the All In event was focused around raising funds for Textbooks 2.0, a rebranding of the Open Alternative Textbook Initiative. Whereas on the day of All In, the KSU Foundation raised more than $500,000, an increase of over $180,000 from the previous All In event, and enough to save students at least $5 million in textbook costs yearly into the future. And whereas the money raised will be distributed to professors to create open and alternative textbooks at a meeting of the Open Alternative Textbook Initiative Review Committee on April 29th, 2021. Be it resolved that Section 1, the Kansas State University Student Governing Association commends the members of the Open Alternative Textbook Initiative, the staff of the KSU Foundation, and donors to All In for supporting this initiative to reduce the cost of textbooks for students. KSU SGA thanks these groups for their support and hopes it will continue into the future. Section 2, upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to all these people that I have to read now. So all members of the Open Alternative Textbook Initiative Review Committee, including Scholarly Communications and Copyright Librarian Emily Finch, Mathematics Department Head Dr. Andy Bennett, Food, Nutrition, Dietetics, and Health Associate Professor Dr. Brian Linshield, Biology Senior Instructor Robbie Baer, Modern Languages Professor Dr. Laura Knost, Agronomy Assistant Professor Dr. Colby Morberg, Chemistry Teaching Professor Dr. Yasmin Patel, Student Access Center Assistant Director Ann Pierce, Academic Services Librarian Laura Bonella, Library Planning and Assessment Director Dr. Laura Luttrell, Digital Scholarship Librarian Brian Otto, and KSU Information Technology Instructional Designer Shaylin Haiju. All In for K-State 2020 committee members, KSU Foundation Associate Vice President of Development Eric Holderneiss, KSU Foundation Senior Director of Strategic Solicitation, Sarah Prince, K-State Alumni Association Assistant Vice President, Development and Communications, Taryn Walters, K-State Communications and Marketing Executive Director, News and Communications, Cindy Hollingsworth, KSU Foundation Board of Trustees, Member Sue Carlson, K-State Athletics Associate Athletics Director for Development, Rob Heil, Applied Human Sciences Associate Professor and Faculty Senate President, Dr. Minnie Markham, Industrial and Manufacturing Systems Engineering Associate Professor Dr. Todd Easton, Grain Science and Industry Assistant Graduate Program Coordinator Monica McFarlane, and English Department Office Specialist and University Support Staff at Large Representative Peggy Post, Department of Kinesiology Office Specialist and University Support Staff Senate President Mary O'Borney, KSU Multicultural Programs and Services Director Murta Chavez, Tel Whitmer, and Lane Lundeen. President and CEO of the KSU Foundation, Greg Williams, University Provost Charles Tabor, and University President Richard B. Myers.
With that, are there any questions and/or corrections for the author of Resolution 1? If you do have any, please indicate so in the chat so I can call on you. Seeing none, there's been a motion made in the chat to approve this resolution unanimously. Just to clarify, since it is our first Senate, a motion to approve unanimously means that we don't need to vote on this. We just automatically approve it as a group. So that's pretty typical with things like, again, commendations and appointments. They're typically pretty non-controversial items. So we don't have to go and do a roll call vote on them. So are there any objections to approving Resolution 1 unanimously? Seeing none, Resolution 1 will stand approved. We clap for commendations, but we'll do that at the end after all of them. We have one more. So next up, we have Resolution 2. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 2? Please. So moved by Senator Lundeen and then seconded by Senator Croslow. And with that, will the author please come forward?
All right, folks, we have Resolution 21-22-02, commendation to USC for eliminating KU from the NCAA tournament by Michael Cunningham, Tanner Koch, Cameron Koger, and Blaine Snyder. Whereas on March 22nd, 2021, the University of Southern California, USC, eliminated the University of Kansas, KU, from the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Whereas USC thoroughly beat KU, handing them their third largest loss in program history. Whereas Kansas State University has a long-standing rivalry with KU dating back to 1902, whereas the lack of K-State basketball in the 2021 NCAA tournament, K-State students had to revert to cheering against KU, whereas USC beating KU brought K-State students and fans great jubilation, and whereas KU's elimination means our basketball program won congruent amounts of championships in 2021, be it resolved that upon passage of this legislation through the Student Senate, a hearty "Go Trojans" shall be uttered by the student senators and guests in attendance of this meeting in support of the University of Southern California. And Section 2, Upon passage by the student senate and signature of the student body president, a copy of this legislation shall be sent to USC University President Carol L. Fort, USC Athletic Director Mike Bowen, USC head basketball coach Andy Enfield, and USC student body president Gabe Savage.
Wow. Are there any questions or corrections for the author of this resolution? Oh, I see some corrections and stuff. So yeah, I know that there's some stuff in the chat, some motions. I'll go back to those because we need to do questions and corrections first. Senator Phillips, I believe you have the first question. On line 17, brought. Maggie, can you mark that down? Okay, and then next up, Senator Atchison. Okay, that was it. Are there any other questions or corrections as of right now? My question is why, but I don't need an answer to that.
Yes, actually, I'll take that. I think it is very important to start the new term and really establish that we're a body of the students and that anything that you deem important, you have the right to write legislation for. So I don't want there to be a precedent from the beginning of the year that super long bills have to be written. If something's important to you, write legislation for it, send it through. If it's silly and people laugh, that's fine. I want to make a culture where SGA, you can make whatever resolution you want. And that's the spirit of this bill.
Can we get some applause for that? I hope you know I was teasing you, Cameron. I hope you know I was teasing you. So, with that, I just want to check, are there any other questions or corrections for the author? Oh, Senator Rodriguez. I think that's why. Do we have Marissa? Is that something you'd be able to take a video of? Is she in here? Oh, Michael can do it. Okay, sorry. I thought she might still be in here. Michael will do it when Cameron will lead that, but we have to process this first. It looks like Senator Insero also has a question.
Could we change "Go Trojans" to "Fight On," which is their like rallying cry, akin to EMA at K-State?
I'd allow it.
Okay, Cameron, you're going to be in charge of facilitating this when we do it.
If it passes.
Are there any? Yeah, it has to pass first. Are there any other questions or corrections? Seeing none. Back up in the chat, Senator Kroslow earlier moved to approve unanimously. That was seconded by Senator Koch. Are there any objections to approving this unanimously? And again, by the way, I guess I didn't explain this earlier. If you have an objection to something, please type out the word objection in the chat as well, or just get my attention somehow. I guess I wasn't clear on that. Are there any objections to approving this unanimously? Oh, objection? I'm just morally opposed to USC. Okay. You're not going to make us have a roll call vote. I'm sorry. We will not make you say whatever we say at the end. Okay, are there any other objections? Seeing none, this resolution will stand approved. Okay, we can clap because we passed 2 commendations tonight. Yay. And then Cameron, you're in charge. You lead right now. What are we doing?
All right, guys. Yeah, let's go for it. On the count of 3, we're gonna say "Fight On" and then "Go Trojan." You ready? 1, 2, 3. Fight on, go Trojans! Take that, KU.
Awesome. So that has exhausted all commendations that we had on the agenda tonight. So now we move into approval of appointments, which is resolution 3. Can I get a motion to consider resolution 3? Moved by Senator Kulkarni, seconded by Senator Phillips. With that, if the author wants to please come forward.
All right, Resolution 2021-03, approval of the Chief of Staff by Michael Dowd, Cameron Koger, and Natalia Rodriguez. Whereas the position of Chief of Staff was sufficiently advertised via application made available to all students who showed interest in Kansas State University Student Governing Association, whereas there were 3 applicants for this position, and whereas this individual was chosen on the basis of their leadership ability, experience, and dedication to serve the students of Kansas State University throughout their term. Be it resolved that Section 1, Maggie Billman be approved as Chief of Staff.
With that, are there any questions or corrections for the author of this resolution? I have one right now, just since it's the beginning of the term. Michael, can you explain what the Chief of Staff does for us?
Yeah, great question. So the Chief of Staff is the 3rd person on the leadership team for the executive branch. The roles of the Chief of Staff, the primary role is directing all of Cabinet and ensuring that that body of 18 people works together cohesively and is pushing forward the different initiatives that are specific to their Cabinet role. And then on top of that, the Chief of Staff also provides perspective and input across all of the executive branch meetings, also attends like a lot of the same meetings that Cameron and I are involved in. And on top of that, yeah, just providing basic leadership and direction throughout the course of the term. So
awesome, thank you. Just want to make sure that was clear to everyone. Are there any other questions or corrections? Seeing none, I will now seek a motion of approval on this, moved by Senator Kulkarni to approve unanimously, seconded by Senator Willis. Are there any objections to that? Seeing none, Ms. Maggie Billman, you get to come forward, and former Chief of Staff Carson Chumland will get to swear you in.
Okay, raise your right hand and say "I will" at the end. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of Chief of Staff and will to the best of my abilities preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Maggie Billman. I am currently a sophomore studying secondary education with an emphasis in speech and theater, and then I'm working on minors in writing and in leadership studies. My hometown is Altamont, Kansas, and my favorite smell is my granny's house.
Awesome, so excited to have that. Maggie's kind of like the only person who's in 2 positions simultaneously right now because her replacement hasn't been picked yet. So for Speaker Pro Tem, so I appreciate your help, Maggie. With that, our next agenda item right now is actually college caucus time. So college caucuses, kind of as we talked about before, is the group of all the student senators who come from one specific academic college. College caucuses typically will meet together throughout the year. It's kind of just an easy way for you to like work on some initiatives or get to know each other. To be honest, college caucuses did not get to do a lot this past year because of COVID and like the limitation of abilities and doing things. But so what we wanted to do right now is actually give you, since it's 8:04, we're gonna give you until 8:05 to just kind of like socialize and get to meet your college, or sorry, not 8:05, 8:15. Sorry, since it's about 8:05, you'll have 10 minutes until 8:15 to meet with your college caucus and really just like socialize and get to know them a bit better right now. So Maggie has already set up breakout rooms. We're gonna spend the next 10 minutes, those should have just been opened. And I know that some of the colleges are already all together in person. So kind of consider this like a soft recess right now. This is your chance to get to meet and interact and just get to know some people that you might not know already, some you might know better. And so we're gonna take just a short little bit right now to let you have time in your caucuses while we get set up for the speaker election, which will be immediately afterwards. So this is kind of like a short little recess right now before we move into that. So have fun, join your caucus, and we are excited to give you guys the chance to interact with each other.
Just DM me and I'll get you in the right room.
if everyone can start to find their seats. Also, I'm hearing some feedback. So again, make sure your computers, if you're in here, are muted both on sound and on the microphone. Okay, awesome. We are going to proceed on with our meeting. I want to apologize. I skipped part of our agenda. So I skipped committee reports and directors reports. My bad. For committee reports, I don't think there are any though, because there's no committees right now. They've all ceased to meet. So are there any committees who have a report? But I don't think so. Okay, seeing none. Are there any directors who have a report? A director is like the catch-all term for anyone in the organization who might have something. Any directors who have a report? Parliamentarian Arnold has the floor.
Hey friends, my name's Michael Arnold. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and I'm a major in mechanical engineering. I'm just here to remind you all to buy your SGA shirts. Special shout out to the 8 people who Venmo'd me since the announcement time. $10. I will paste my Venmo in the chat, and if anyone has questions, I will take them.
Question from Senator Phillips.
I don't have the JPEG like downloaded, but I can get that to Maggie and have it sent out with the minutes.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that then.
Okay, it's going to be a dark purple shirt with SGA K-State on the front, and on the back is the SGA seal, like all colorized and stuff. It's going to look really neat.
Awesome. Next question from Senator Bain.
Correct. It's unisex sizes.
And then next up, Senator Atchison has a question. What's the timeline is the question.
So I'm ordering them tomorrow morning. I was quoted about 1 week, so I'll have to drive out to Parsons and pick them up. And then I will distribute those at the next Student Senate after that.
Awesome. Any further questions for Parliamentarian Arnold? Seeing none, are there any additional directors who would like to give a report tonight? Seeing none, we will jump back up to where we are correctly in the agenda. So that would be after College Caucus time, general orders. And as I explained earlier, tonight is the election of the new Speaker of the Student Senate. For that election, we will first take nominations for that position. Actually, I'll be able to keep track. So at this point in time, I would like a motion to open the floor for nominations. If someone could type so moved. Moved by Senator May, seconded by Senator Glasscock. At this point in time, the floor is now open for nominations. If you would like to nominate someone, please type it in the chat. Senator Booz has nominated Blake Phillips. I'm going to go in order here. There was a second from Senator Croslow. Blake Phillips, do you accept your nomination for Speaker of the Senate? Awesome. Next up, Senator Phillips nominated Andrew Booz to be Speaker of the Senate. That was also seconded by Senator Croslow. Senator Booz, do you accept your nomination to be a candidate for Speaker of the Student Senate? Awesome. So as of this point in time, Blake Phillips, you're number 1 on my list. Andrew, you're number 2. Are there any additional nominations for candidates for Speaker of the Student Senate? I typically count to 10 on things for silence. I counted to 20. Senator Croslow has moved to close the floor for nominations. Is there a second on that? Second from Senator Blood. Are there any objections to closing the floor for nominations at this time? If we close the floor, there is no other candidates. Seeing none, the floor will be closed for nominations. Andrew and Blake, if you'll come forward really quickly, I'm gonna randomly generate the order for speeches right now. So hold on.
Just so everyone knows, they're doing a random number generator.
So our order is going to be Andrew Booz first, and then Blake Phillips second. So Andrew, you will have the floor first. Blake, at this time, I would like to ask that you leave the room. If you have a laptop, please leave it in here so we know that you're not on the Zoom call. So you are free to exit the room. Nah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Just, yeah, sorry, you gotta leave. So with that, Blake, if you wanna leave, and Andrew, if you would like to prepare. So we will now have a maximum of 10-minute speeches from each candidate and then time for questions afterwards for each of our candidates. So Andrew, you're free to use the podium where Michael is right now for your speech. When you're ready.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to start today with a little bit of an agenda before we get into the meat of this presentation. And so today we'll be going over a little bit about me, my SGA experience, and then my platforms, and then finally leaving you with a final question, as well as taking any questions you may have. So first, a little bit about me. As I said earlier, I'm a junior in computer science from Olathe, Kansas, where I attended Olathe Northwest High School. And my favorite smell at the moment is fresh rain. Finally, this photo on the left is me about 2 years ago when I was campaigning for my first student Senate seat. I have grown a beard since then, but I don't have any good photos of it, so you'll have to make do with this one. But I also wanted to take this back to about March of 2018, which is when I first got interested in fully being in student government. At that time, I was part of my speech team at my high school during my senior year, and I was part of congressional debate in particular. Congress, as it was popularly known, is a very similar debate style to what we do here in Student Senate. And in particular, I wanted to be a presiding officer, which was basically the role of the speaker, someone who takes minutes, who keeps time, and who makes sure all of the motions are processed correctly. At about the same time as I was practicing drilling motions and making sure I was completely correct, I also visited K-State. Talked to the current student body president, snapped some photos of the chalk that was going on for that election, and realized after talking to the current student body president that I wanted to use my talents that I was developing for congressional debate in something that would benefit students. In other words, an SGA. So when I came to K-State, I got involved very, very quickly. As a member of the first class of the new intern program, Nathan was actually an intern coordinator of mine. I was very active and actually ended up writing some legislation by the end of my intern year. Unsurprisingly, it was in governing documents, and it was editing some things relating to Green Action Fund. As I ran for Student Senate that same year, we had a very controversial election. And the year before that, we also had a controversial election. Both of those years, our president one of the presidential candidates got disqualified. And the year I was running, that presidential candidate did not get reinstated. That created a sense that as I assumed the role of Senate Operations Committee Chair, that something needed to change. We even created a resolution about it. And in particular, that was a lot of pressure, but I stepped up to the challenge. In fact, I led the committee for the past 2 years in identifying and fixing the issues that we found with the elections regulations. And I think that is definitely a part of why our elections have been more stable today. Additionally, I have filled 42 vacancies over the past 2 terms, 21 per year. And we've established the pattern of creating allowing people to do presentations to Senate operations, which I think has provided valuable feedback for many people on their various legislation. But all good things have to come to an end. And I do think that 3 years would be too much in this sort of position. this is my last year at K-State. And I think that I not only have platforms that I'm the best person for, but that it's my time. So let's move on to platforms. My platforms are all focused around the idea of connection. Connections between student senators, connections between the K-State, with the K-State community, and connections with the future. I think during this COVID-19 period, we have had major issues connecting with people because of the things that we have had to do, and rightly so, to contain the virus. And so it's important that we build these issues back intentionally as we come out of a time where we could come into a time where we can make these sorts of connections. So first, connections between student senators. This past year, we started doing assigning committee members by a committee interview with either a panel of the 3 product-based committees or the 3 funding-based committees. And so I think that system worked fairly well, and I want to continue that. But I want to allow you to rate your committee from 10 to 1 instead of just ranking them. That way, the committee chairs, when they're deciding where to put people, can see how much that this person wants to be on a particular committee or not, and make more informed choices about where you would fit best. I think this would really help in that arena. Additionally, I want to do once a month SGA social events, which could be about many different topics, from just hanging out with people who you aren't in committee with, to brainstorming ideas of what we need to do on an SGA issue, to making sure that people know about the governing documents and the history of SGA. There's a lot of opportunities, and I commit to working with the pro tempore and the intern coordinators as well as other people to making that happen. Then finally, I want to keep an emphasis on onboarding new senators throughout the term. I think sometimes they can fall through the cracks, and given that we have 21 each year, I think it's important that we make sure that they don't. Now, as far as connections with the K-State community goes, this platform is really based on making sure that we can hear student concerns and that we can deliver them to the people, to the administrators that need to hear them. The first 2 sub-points on this platform are really using the college caucus system and the caucus leader in particular to connect with college councils, making sure that they are on the same page as we are, and maybe we can even co-brand events, as well as connect with other college students by making sure that we revamp our SGA week and are visiting classes and tabling and using social media in order to make sure that most students know that SGA exists. Including, we also need to update the website and make sure that it's always up to date, and adding a contact form so it's easier to contact us instead of needing to search up our emails. Then finally, I want to be proactively representing students to administration. If there's an issue that regards administration and there's a resolution about it, I want to bring it up before the student body president has even signed it. And then finally, connections with the future are really important. And this is really all about institutional knowledge, which is not the most exciting thing, but the one that's most essential for our long-term development. The baseline here is to continue to make changes to the governing documents so that people can say, this is what they were doing in this term. Additionally, we put a lot of work into transition documents. I know, I'm working on mine right now. I think it's really important that that work not stay with just the next committee chair, but move forward into new years. In 2026, I want to make sure that every committee chair and every other position can look back and say, hey, was there an issue that's similar to us that was in 2021? If so, what did they do about it? And what was their advice for next year's? Instead of having to work through filtered third-hand accounts. And then finally, I want to have a plan to move SGA's organizational hub to Canvas. I do not want to move immediately because the Center for Student Involvement is currently working on finding a replacement for Org Central, which is what we are currently using. However, I do want to be able to move at the instant we determine that that system does or does not work for us. So those are my platforms, and I really think those things are important. But more than that, I got involved in SGA because I wanted to use the skills that I was already developing before I even came to K-State to impact students. And I think that there's no better way to do that than in this position. Therefore, my question for you is, may I be your presiding officer for the next term? Thank you, and I'll take any questions you have.
Awesome. So with that, we are now going to proceed into our questions portion. We have 5 minutes for question. For questions, you must indicate so in the chat that you have a question for us to deliver it to you. If you're in Wildcat Chamber, you cannot raise your hand. That's unfair to the people on the Zoom, and we want to make sure that we're going in an equitable order. So Senator Glasscock, since you had the first question, you may go now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Andrew, thank you for your presentation. My question to you is, the position of Speaker is a position with a lot of legislative power or hard power, but there's also a lot of soft power that comes with the position. My question to you is, to what degree and how will you use that soft power to stand up and speak for the voices of marginalized students on this campus and in this organization?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think that that really ties into my connection with the K-State community platform and being proactive and representing to administration. So, you know, I want to be the first person to bring up, even when there's a rumble of issues in SGA, I want to bring that up to administration before we've even passed something and say, hey, we need to do something about this because students are impacted, including, you know, students who are marginalized in the first place. And so, but we also can't do that if we aren't hearing from students as well. And so I think the other pieces of my platform are really helpful for that too. Thank you.
Senator Colburn, you have the next question.
How would you describe your leadership style?
Yeah, I'd say that I've actually learned quite a bit about delegation from my work in Senate Operations Committee. And so I'd say that I prioritize being clear about what everyone is working on, but then also just leaving people to work on it if they, you know, if they've chosen to do it or if they've been assigned to do it. So I'd say I'm relatively hands-off once we've defined the boundaries and defined the relationship between me and the other person I'm working with.
Awesome. Next up, I have Senator Grills with the next question. I'm running you the mic now.
Yeah, so we talked in our new senator training meeting on good questions to ask the speaker, and we know that you're going to be on the tuition and fee strategy committee. Can you tell me a little bit more about your personal stance on the fee structures and what would you'd be interested in on that committee?
Yeah, the Tuition and Fee Strategy Committee is kind of an interesting topic because we haven't had that much controversy over it in previous years, but I talked to Jack Ayers to prepare me for this, and like they had a lot of controversy in his year as speaker. And so that's something that I definitely intend to keep an eye on. As far as the actual fee structure, I do think that the controversy that we had this year and the resolution that Blake Phillips sponsored to about the online fee and basically a 9% increase. I worked with him quite a bit on that and definitely agree with that. That was not the right choice, I believe, for administration. And I think we should have, we're definitely going to review that through TFSC in the next term.
Next up for questions is Senator Solomon.
If a conflict arises between like multiple senators or multiple groups of individuals like in this room, what strategies would you take to resolve it?
Yeah, I think like I very much try to cultivate an understanding of both people involved or all sides involved in that discussion. So I think the first step would be really just listening to both of them, probably separately, if the discussion is hot enough. And then like trying to come to a kind of agreement with me and probably with the Speaker Pro Tempore, whoever that ends up being, as to like which side is correct and which side is not, and then try to kind of bring them together and say, hey, we do need to resolve this. What can we do to get you to working together again, that sort of thing.
For our next question, Senator Rodriguez.
Hello. Yeah. Hi. It's like up to the chair, not the chair, the Speaker of the Student Senate to review the line acknowledgement every year. How will you go about that and what resources will you use?
Like how would I go about reviewing it?
Yeah, because we kind of talk about like in DI, like every year, like the Speaker of Student Senate will have to like review it, make sure that it's still like up to date, relevant, and all that. So how will you go about like reviewing the line acknowledgement and making sure that it's still relevant and the information there is up to date, and how can we keep following our mission with that?
Yeah, absolutely. The land acknowledgement is definitely something I intend to uphold, and that would be reviewed through DEI in a way very similar to how it was created And then if any revisions are needed, it would be passed through Student Senate. So I don't believe that there would be that much of a need for my personal intervention and you know, in any way, but I definitely intend to uphold that responsibility.
Time for questions has expired.
There are multiple questions still left in the chat. So, okay, hold on, sorry. I was away from my computer. There's a motion from Senator Blood to move to extend the time for questions by 5 minutes. That was seconded by Senator Rodriguez. Are there any objections to extending time for questions by 5 minutes? Yep. So it's like assumed unanimously, unless if someone objects, we would do a hand vote on that through the raise hand feature. But if no one objects, we're just going to go with it. So yeah, it's assumed kind of unanimous though. Good question. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of order. I believe Senator Diaz de Leon, you have the next question by my count.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for sharing all this awesome information with us tonight. Quick question about for you regarding if you were to be speaker. So you would serve on the Faculty Senate and the Faculty Senate Executive Committee. So could you kind of speak to how you would communicate student needs with Faculty Senate and on that committee as well? You know, an example, for example, those wellness days and that being said with spring break.
Right, that's a great question. That's something I definitely intend to prioritize in my term as speaker if elected. And I think like my style of working with the administration and peers is like always trying to remember that I am the spokesperson of the students, and at the same time working with people in Faculty Senate and with the administration to make sure that change is made, as opposed to just screaming into the void, for instance. And so really I try to strike that balance and always be kind of advocating for what students want, not what administration wants.
Next up is Senator Pineda Gomez.
Hi, thank you for sharing your presentation with us, Andrew. My question to you is, with school moving online and next year it being moved back in person, I think mental wellness is going to be a big aspect in a lot of students' lives that have only been online so far. What, if anything, will you do to prioritize this?
To prioritize mental wellness. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an issue that like I've faced a little bit and definitely a lot of other people are facing right now. That is not like something that I brought up in the platforms, but I definitely think the connection with the K-State community piece is important because, you know, that's an issue that SGA wants to prioritize, and we should definitely pass a resolution and definitely go to administration. And I would definitely love to be a part of that and review anything that we come up with, and go as well as going to administration and say, hey, we need more resources in this place or that place. So definitely want to be a part of anything that SGA comes up with over the next year.
Next up, Senator Rodriguez again.
Yep. How will you make sure to foster a safe space in Senate Exec Committee as well as in Senate? So like making sure that everybody's being heard in a respectful manner and that people, especially in like a closer committee, that they're being safe and heard and nobody's like being attacked or they don't feel uncomfortable not bringing important issues up.
Right, that's definitely important as well. And so, you know, that is something that will continue, like I'll continue to work on. And I think that like, I definitely try to do that personally. And so like, as far as relations between other people, you could refer back to the answer that I gave to Senator Solomon about how I would plan on mediating between other people. And so definitely that part of like hearing both sides, but then also if, you know, somebody is definitely in the right, deciding that they are, and then trying to, like, if people are like being abused, definitely telling the abuser to stop. So I definitely intend on doing that.
Next up is Student Body President Michael Dowd.
Hey, Andrew. Could you give me an example of a time that you failed and what did you do afterwards?
Yeah, I actually think a fairly interesting example and one that relates to my frame story is at like what I was studying to be a presiding officer of, and that was the East Kansas congressional debate qualifier for nationals. And so I actually ended up not doing badly, but being the second alternate to nationals and not getting to go to nationals. And so that was like, I wanted to go to nationals, definitely. And so really the after that happened, like that did kind of feel like I didn't do as well as I wanted to. And so that kind of took some refocusing and saying, hey, well, what else am I doing that's important? And so I refocused and graduated high school in the next couple of months, and came on to K-State and got started doing other things that are representing students and other things that I think are important as well.
Senator May, you have the next question.
Yes, can you please tell us something that SGA has done in the past, whether it is just habitual or traditional, that's something that you personally disagree with, and what your ideas are to make it different and better?
Yeah, I really think that the connection with the Future platform is a big part of trying to change how SGA stores information as a whole. Like often we just
Time
store
for questions has
information.
expired.
There's been a motion to extend time for questions by 10 minutes. That was in first by Senator Colburn. That one was seconded by Senator Glasscock. Are there any objections to extending time for questions? Seeing none, Andrew, you can continue where you were.
Okay. Yeah. So often we just kind of store information in the minds of student senators or in the minds of advisors, and like advisors are absolutely amazing. Thank you for all the work that you do. But like if all the advisors decided to leave at the same time, I do feel like we would have some issues in Student Senate. And so, I mean, I think that to be a sustainable organization, we do need to store information in more of a hard form that's accessible to all student senators. And so that's really a big part of connections with the Future as a whole.
Awesome. For our next question, that'd be Vice President Koger. You have the floor.
Yes, as Speaker of the Senate, you'd work closely with the executive and judicial branch, kind of as a middleman, so to say, between the legislative branch to those two. What are some ways that you'd work to foster a healthy relationship with the other two branches, and why is that important to you?
Yeah, I'll deal with your second question first as to why that's important. And it's really important because if the speaker or if Student Senate as a whole is really moving in a different direction than judicial or executive, that would kind of, split both public perception and just split what our organization is focusing on in general. And so all of us being on the same page and working on similar initiatives and that sort of thing allows us to combine our efforts and get more done overall. The second thing is what I intend to do is I definitely intend, like if elected, to reach out to you and Ashton and Anna Lee, who are judicial branch members, as soon as possible, and to set up a time to meet, to organize basically, what my issues are, what your issues, have already started working on, and then work on organizing cabinet and like everything that we need to do together to make sure that we're successful. So obviously I won't be interfering with your cabinet choices or anything, but that sort of thing is really working together and being proactive on it.
I have the next question from Senator Blood.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for everything today. As Senate Operations Chair for the past 2 years, you've really been able to dig into our processes and our rules. What's one legislative process or governing process in SGA that you would really like to change as Speaker next year, and why?
Right, that's a great question. And I mean, I think part of why I've been why I'm running and why I I'm doing this as opposed to really focusing on those is because I think we've done a lot of work to change our processes into what we think they should be. I do think though that all of my platforms are about processes that I think we should change, starting with the small tweaks to our committee chair selection or committee member selection, but also just the entire process for how we store information and the entire way that getting back to the older way of interacting with students. And so I think those are things I would really want to change too.
Senator May, I have you next with another question.
Yes, if another issue were to arise, such as the pandemic, or if there was another raise in cases again in the fall with the university choosing to either shut down or take our breakaway, what is your specific plan for this issue and how will you handle the controversy?
Well, okay, I'll deal with your first question first. I think that would be, that would definitely derail some of my plans, especially the plan about having events once per month. However, I definitely would want to continue with the plans that I've already laid out, especially the things that don't rely on being in person, such as committee member assignments, still making sure that student senators who join are connected, maybe still having online events, and then, still continuing to work with college caucuses to connect with their students. I think that's something that we could still keep doing during a new pandemic or a new lockdown, that sort of thing. The second thing about handling the controversy, I definitely would want to, use the same mediation strategy that I mentioned again to Senator Solomon about, making sure that we're basically listening to every side, but not necessarily concluding that every side is correct, and trying to bring people together without while still seeking the truth. So that also depends on how Student Senate feels about it, and what you all want to do as well.
Next question, Senator Lux.
Thanks, Andrew. My question is, what are your plans and how do you want to implement creating more transparency between SGA and the student body, but more specifically those students who don't know what SGA is or what we do?
Yeah, so I mentioned a few of those things in connection with the K-State community. In particular, that'll be really kind of a delegated responsibility to the caucus leaders to make sure that they're connecting with their college, make sure that they're connecting with the college caucus, but then also doing things like going to intro classes or using a college specific social media as well as the communications director, working with them to do the full-on SGA social media, and then also making it easier to just contact us generally. So really that would be kind of a delegated responsibility that I would be clear about how we need to engage more students, but then work with the caucus leader and the pro tempore to make a plan that's specific to that particular college.
Next question is from Max Harmon, who's a guest. This is a great reminder. Thank you, Vice President Koger, for the example. Only current members of SGA have speaking rights, like in Senate, but Vice President Koger did what you can do to give someone speaking rights. So he just said he deferred his. So Max Harmon, you have the next question.
Thanks, Andrew. Could you give us an example of a time when you motivated others and how you do that?
When I, what exactly?
Motivated others, sorry. Like encouraged other people and like motivated them to get involved. For some context, especially when we're online in Senate, it can be really hard to stay engaged when we've all been virtual, like over this past year. I mean, some of that will continue over this next year. So when was the time that you motivated other people to get involved and gave them that encouragement? And how do you plan to do that with your term if you get elected to speaker?
Right. I think I've done that in two ways over my time in SGA. The first one would just be as the chair of Senate Operations Committee. I, have delegated again to the committee members, some of which are here in the room tonight, to do legislation. And I think that's been a great way of both familiarizing them with how to write a legislation and getting them involved in general. And like I would always be available to answer any questions or to look over their legislation, but definitely kind of giving them that push to get those things done because they needed to be done. The other way I would say is by just reviewing people's legislation independently. So I had a member of this body now like reach out to me with an idea, and I helped them workshop it quite like substantially until it was actually submitted to committee. And so like that I think really was like a way that I got people involved over the past year.
Awesome. As of this time, I am all caught up on questions. Seeing no more, thank you, Andrew, for your presentation tonight. Now I'm going to ask that you leave, and our advisor, Kelly Ferris, is going to bring Blake Phillips, the other candidate, in for his presentation and questions.
sit down there. Cool. Thanks.
Whenever you are ready, Blake, you can begin.
There we go. All right. Hello, Student Senate. For those of you who haven't had the chance to meet yet, my name is Blake Phillips. I'm currently a sophomore here at K-State studying management information systems here in the College of Business, and I'm from Tonganoxie, Kansas as well. And for those of you who I have had the chance to meet and work with, it's nice to see you all again. I'm really looking forward to this next term with you all. As you probably guessed, I'm up here because I'm running to be your next speaker of the Student Senate. During this speech, I'll be discussing why I believe I'm the best candidate for the role of speaker, and I will be discussing my vision for the upcoming term. By the end of this speech, I hope you'll feel confident in voting for me to represent you as your speaker for this coming term. Throughout my time in SGA, I believe my experiences have contributed to my preparedness for the office of speaker, both by working with our leaders and by leading others myself. I have had the opportunity to work extensively with both our current speaker, Nate Bothwell, and our former speaker, Hannah Heatherman. Through these projects and conversations, I've been able to gain so much experience and learn significantly more about the office of speaker, including the roles and responsibilities that are not legislated. This preparation has been essential as the role of a speaker is so much more than the duties written in the Constitution. Speakers need to be very relational, which I feel I possess. Additionally, I've gotten to work very closely this year with Madison Brown, our former chair of the Privilege Fee Committee. I owe Madison so much because she's been a fantastic friend and committee chair for me. I've had the opportunity to serve as a chair for the Privilege Fee Committee, work one-on-one with administration, and do some of the behind-the-scenes planning of meetings, budgeting, and solving for problems that arise. This experience has been essential as the speaker chairs multiple committee meetings and Student Senate, works very closely with university administration, and has to be adaptable to solve problems that arise. I've been fortunate to develop relationships with some of our university administration, which would translate very well into the role of speaker. Finally, running for the position of Speaker Pro Tempore last year has prepared me for the role of speaker so much as I was able to gain so much specific knowledge about the legislative processes and build important relationships. I didn't win this position, but running for it was one of my best decisions I've made in SGA. In the past year, I've had the opportunity to serve in multiple leadership positions, which will be extremely beneficial if I were elected speaker. During the previous term, I've had the opportunity to serve as a student senator, caucus leader for the College of Business, vice chairs of the Privilege Fee Committee and Educational Opportunity Fund, and serve as a campaign manager for one of our presidential campaigns. Through these experiences, I have had the opportunity to personally participate and observe several controversial debates on the Senate floor, which the speaker is in charge of coordinating. Additionally, I have been able to serve as a resource and lead a group of senators as caucus leader. In this role, I was able to coordinate outreach efforts, communicate and work directly with administration, and organize efforts among senators. All of these roles and experiences occur in the daily life of a speaker, which I believe I could easily transition into. Finally, as the vice chair of multiple committees and campaign manager, I have had the opportunity to participate in the work that occurs behind the scenes, work to make agendas, chair meetings on my own, perform outreach, and etc. These are all responsibilities of the speaker, which I feel fully prepared for. Additionally, as we move into the next term, the speaker will be faced with specific challenges. I believe that the next speaker's term will have a large emphasis on tuition and fees. The speaker currently serves as the co-chair of the Tuition and Fees Strategies Committee and currently serves as the student representative on the Tuition and Fees Task Force. Coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring higher education remains affordable will be essential. I believe my experience serving as a member of the Tuition and Fees Strategies Committee, Privilege Fee Committee, both travel and on-campus allocations committees, and general work with tuition and fees this year has prepared me to lead committees about tuition and fees for this coming year. Next year's Privilege Fee Committee will also have a much higher than usual workload, and I believe my experience on this committee will allow me to pick the best chair possible, as well as help this chair succeed in their challenging role. Additionally, embracing the presence of diversity, equity, and inclusion within student government and on our campus is of the utmost importance. My goal is to help select committees with many different backgrounds and perspectives so that we can best represent the student body. Additionally, I feel I am well equipped to respond to issues that may arise on this campus. I am extremely flexible and adaptable to any given circumstance and handle pressure very well. I always make it a priority to seek advice and feedback from others to ensure that the best possible decisions are being made. Finally, I believe it is our role as student leaders to ensure that all students are welcomed on this campus, whether that be through legislation or our own actions. While I believe our leadership team has done a great job this year of leading SGA, I believe our organization can be improved through both internal measures within our organization and external measures of how our organization interacts with the student body. Some things will occur on a day-to-day basis, while others will take more of a big picture approach. That didn't change slides. There we go. First, I really want to work on our organization and inclusiveness of Student Senate. Currently, our agenda is sent out multiple times per week with changes from draft to draft. I believe this process can be simplified so that there's only one agenda sent out per week with the minutes from our previous meeting and legislation tracking information all attached. This will increase our ease of finding important information for senators and students alike. Additionally, I believe that coordinating our first open period speakers to have one speaker per meeting will be more consistent and will help increase our meeting efficiency. We are all students and we should try to avoid 4 to 5 hour meetings as much as possible, as we're all busy people and probably have other commitments. I believe this will also increase our engagement as a Senate body, as we will hopefully not check out mentally once we get on hour 4 of a meeting. I also believe Senate can be more accessible by including agenda guides in our meetings. It is important that all guests and senators know what each section means on our agenda and what actions can be taken wherein. These guides will help simplify Senate, especially for new members of our organization and for our guests. Additionally, I believe we can increase our flexibility by continuing to offer hybrid Senate once the pandemic is over. I would like to conduct business primarily in person for the majority of the term. However, the option to Zoom into Senate will still exist. If you are unable to be physically present but can still attend Senate, you'll have the opportunity to do so through a request on our proxy form. I believe this will be especially helpful for graduate students who may have family obligations or distance restrictions, athletes who may be traveling, those who are sick, or for our guests and any other situations that arise. For the entire semester, I also plan to host monthly events that are aimed at increasing connections among our organization. Unfortunately, COVID has decreased our ability to gather purely for fun, and I believe that hosting events monthly that allow for senators to have fun and get to know each other will really strengthen our relationships. Events such as pizza and parlaw can be fun and educational, whereas Ultimate Frisbee or a caucus dodgeball tournament can allow for pure fun and relationship building. In addition to building relationships, I really want to focus on personal and professional development this year. Emphasizing diversity, equity, and inclusion training is really important to me, as these efforts or these elements are critical to our role as student leaders and to the K-State community as a whole. I plan to host these trainings and events at least semesterly because they are so important. Additionally, I want to be a resource to those who are thinking about running for positions such as committee chair, caucus leader, vice chair, etc. I know these positions can be intimidating to run for, as not everybody has experience making an agenda or running a meeting. I really hope to encourage all to run regardless of experience level by hosting opportunities for processes like making agendas, chairing meetings and how to do so efficiently, parlaw, and others. I believe this will increase our perspectives which run for positions, which is really important in our role as student leaders. Next, I believe that SGA as a whole can portray itself better to the entire student body. We currently have a problem where not enough people know of the important work that we do in this room as student leaders. I plan to start combating this by personally writing a meeting update for the K-State Today after every student senate meeting. I believe this will make the important work that happens in this body more accessible to our student body and will help to get other students involved in our organization. Additionally, as we increase our virtual reach, I want to make this reach more easily accessible and identifiable. Currently, it is almost impossible to tell our meeting recordings apart, and it's really hard for them to find and know where to access these. It is important that we work to correct and permanently make these resources more accessible and available to all students. Emphasizing our new YouTube channel and looking for more ways to reach students digitally is extremely important, as we've seen during the past year. Additionally, I hope to reach the student body through semesterly events that are catered towards them. Having an opportunity for students to meet their senators, learn about SGA, and discuss opportunities to get involved, such as elections, is essential. I have also already started meeting with our executive branch team to ensure a smooth transition and to make sure that legislative voices are represented and heard during their roundtable discussions to provide the most important information to the student body. Finally, as a student, it is extremely hard to reach out to a student senator. When looking for senators on the SGA website, there is literally just a list of senators. My goal is to personalize this, making a bio for every senator with a picture, name, and email address for contact, major, and a fact like hometown, so that connections can be made easier with students. I believe this, combined with our outreach efforts I've talked about above, will help us communicate better with those who've elected us. I know these are a lot of changes, and I went through some of them pretty fast, so please feel free to ask any questions you may have about my vision for the next term. I believe that my experience and passion for student representation, as well as my plans for the upcoming term, fit very well with the role of speaker. And so with that, I stand for any questions the body may have of me. Thank you.
Awesome. With that, I will now look for any questions. Please put them in the chat and we will run a mic to you. Senator Richenberg, Maggie's coming to you.
Hi, thank you so much, Blake, for everything you've done this past year. As you know, that we passed a resolution a couple weeks ago calling for the administration to be more inclusive. And we obviously know there's still work to be done. How do you plan to continue this effort, whether it's in SGA or in campus?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, just kind of like going back like with the resolution, making sure to be like consistently checking in with administration and all of those committees just to like see the progress that's going on. I know that our current speaker serves on some of those specific committees as well. So definitely like any committee, if I were to fill into those roles, I would definitely have like a firsthand look at, but really just emphasizing and like checking in and consistently looking for updates and asking our advisors, administration, for example, we meet bi-weekly with Dr. Lane and then monthly with President Myers. So definitely, you know, checking in and making sure that the university is accountable to that.
Next up, Senator Lundin.
I know that you mentioned some of your past experience in your speech, but is there anything that you could kind of, or any committees or organizations that you could relate to the size of Senate, since those other committees are just a little bit smaller?
Yeah, definitely. So I would really turn to like work on the presidential campaign for that. You know, on a presidential campaign, there were like between 30 and 50 people, I believe, like directly involved with the campaign. And so being one of the campaign managers for that, being able to work with that many people was really good experience and definitely like, you know, leading some of those meetings, whether they were the bigger ones or just more like focused committees in general was really important. I spent a lot of time on finance specifically, just because, you know, I've been involved with Privy a lot. I love student affordability, especially. And so both getting to work in those smaller groups and those bigger groups as well was a really good experience.
Next up, sorry, is President Dowd.
Hey, Blake, tell me about a time when you failed and what you did afterwards.
Could you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, give me an example of a time that you failed and what you did after.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am going to turn us about 1 year ago back. Like I mentioned, I ran for Speaker Pro Tem last year and unfortunately did not win that race. I'm very glad that it happened now, just like with everything that's happened this year. At the time though, not a ton of fun. It's actually kind of a funny story. About an hour after I lost, I wrote a couple of pieces of legislation for SGA. Definitely a little bit of a nerd. That was my coping mechanism, I guess. But yeah, like really just no matter what happens, like the passion never stops. I remember specifically talking to our former, now 2 years ago, Vice President Ali Karamali. And we just had a really good conversation after that about like, I told him like, how can I still get involved and like be able to impact students even without a position? Because I also lost my Senate race. And so I really did not have any backup plan. And so really just trying to get involved, still make sure that I was helping students to the best of my ability.
Next up, Senator Long. Michael, if you can just.
Hi, Blake. How would you describe your leadership style?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say that I generally, I guess like leading by example is usually how I go about leading. I'd consider myself like a natural leader, whether it's like, you know, a group project or any activity I'm involved in. I usually try to get involved, have a lot of fun, but really try to like set an example for others. You know, whether it's debating on the Senate floor, writing legislation, other things like that. You know, I feel like leading by example like that is really how I lead. And I always love, you know, helping people, showing them how to do those type of things so that eventually they can become leaders and succeed.
Thank you.
Senator O'Donoghue, you're next.
So I think that you have some really great ideas. I was particularly interested in the weekly update that you plan on getting published after every Senate meeting. My main concern is the workload you seem to be proposing. Will you allocate some of these responsibilities to the pro tem, or do you think you'll be able to sustain these by yourself?
Yeah, so the way that I plan to do it right now is to do that by myself. I know that you mentioned workload. One thing that kind of like also goes with my platforms is that one less time that I'd be making the agenda. That takes a couple of hours, which I feel I could definitely spend writing that update to the student body. The way that I see that process happening, like So Thursday, Senate gets over. Friday, I sit down, write that update. And then like I would work with the communications director, kind of like run it by them since they're mainly the one in charge of like communicating with the public. And so they'd like look it over, you know, basically give it the okay, submit to K-State Today for that update.
Time for questions has expired.
Sorry, checking the chat. Senator May moved to extend time for questions by 10 minutes. That was seconded by Senator Atchison. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Max Harmon has had speaking rights deferred to him, so he has the next question.
Thanks so much, Blake. A lot of your platforms include kind of going like above and beyond the legislated duties of the speaker. Can you tell us about a time in the past when you've gone above and beyond the call of duty and what the results of that were?
Yeah, so I'll give a funny example really quick here. So Madison was my privy chair. I was privileged to be vice chair. And there was one day where I get an email from Ian Punnett. He's the director of KSDB. And he basically emailed and he was like, hey, like I need a quick second of someone's time at SGA. And so I texted Madison. I was like, hey, did you see Ian's email? And she's like, no, I didn't get it. And so he accidentally only sent it to me. I don't know if he thought I was chair or what happened exactly. But I was just like, cool, I'll take it. And so Ian and I got on the phone. We talked about, he wanted to buy a specific thing of equipment, looked over the governing docs, looked good to me, confirmed it with Madison and our advisors, bang, it happened. So kind of like those type of things. But also I would just kind of say like, just generally, my attitude, I guess, in Student Senate, I love like getting involved so much, you know, whether it's like, we're technically legislated to only serve on one committee. I know I was constantly talking to our speaker Bothwell about any other committees I could get on, other things like that, just because number one, it's a lot of fun, but number two, I think it's really important for that student representation. And I thought I would be a good voice for them, so.
Senator Glasscock, you have the next question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Blake, for your awesome presentation. My question is this. The position of speaker, it's one with a lot of clout, but also one that has some inherent neutrality. So what I want to know is in what situations do you see yourself being neutral? Will you be always neutral? Will you always strive for that? Or are there certain situations when it's more important to eschew neutrality?
Yeah, so I completely agree that the role of speaker is generally like, the speaker should almost always be neutral. An example that I will give as far as like when a speaker might not like should step in potentially. A couple of weeks ago, we had the debate regarding the per credit hour requirement. And that was kind of an issue regarding the accessibility of Student Senate. I believe in a situation like that, specifically regarding like the accessibility, like those type of things of this specific body, are places where if it's important, the speaker can step in. But generally, I would say like 99% of the time, the role of the speaker is mostly to be neutral.
Senator Blood has the next question.
Hi, Blake. Is there any process or thing legislated for the Student Senate that you would like to change as speaker?
Yeah, so like specific processes of Student Senate. I would say maybe a little bit of like a clarification of some of our governing documents. You know, there's some like kind of like ambiguous things that aren't like referring exactly how they should be. Kind of just like matching some of our like general practices with what is actually legislated. It's like some of those type of things.
With that, I am all caught up on questions right now. Seeing no further questions, thank you for your presentation and questions, Blake. At this point, we will move into the debate phase. So all candidates are asked to leave the room and we will debate from this point moving onward. Thank you for joining us, Blake. Debate will be pretty basic to normal processes, but just to cover what it will look like for those who weren't here, we will rotate through debate in the order that the candidates presented. So we'll start with Andrew Booz and then we'll move to Blake Phillips. So we'll do, if you would like to debate in favor of Andrew Booz, that'll be the first opportunity. If you'd like to debate in favor of Blake Phillips, that'll be the second opportunity for debate. If you're debating, you have up to 5 minutes to make your debate. I mean, this is a change that was actually approved at, I think, just last week's Student Senate meeting, the final one. So our rules have changed a bit. You we used to do questions for you after you debated in favor of someone. Now that is gone. So now you just give your debate and then you sit down. Like there's no, like you don't get asked questions by people. You just come up, make your point, and you sit down. And that's to encourage people to make debate, but to not feel scared about like being asked questions. So yeah, we will proceed like that right now. Oh, the one other rule that I wanted to bring up. So I guess two other things is that a motion to call the previous question that ends debate, that will be in order after there have been 5 opportunities to debate for each side. So we have to have gotten through 5 opportunities for both Andrew and Blake before we can end debate, or debate will just cease if there's no more debate, kind of just like with questions. So either or. The last thing is that the College of Business does kick us out at 10 p.m. It is 9:12. My projection is that we are scheduled to end right about at 10 p.m. exactly. So all I would ask is that if you have the ability to be concise versus verbose, please choose concise. So with that, I will now move on into debate. Andrew Booz is first for debate. Again, you have to indicate so in the chat if you have any, and I will go by the appropriate order. So Senator Croslow, since you have debate first, you are welcome to come up to the microphone up here.
Colleagues, I come before you to advocate for my friend, Andrew Booz. Andrew and I have worked together for a long time, and he has earned my respect. I'd like to talk about 3 points, 2 that make a forceful argument, and 1 that is a bit more of a personal appeal. The first point, Andrew has the experience to be the speaker. He knows SGA. He brings instant credibility to the position. This is not to impugn the other candidate, but Andrew has a gravitas that I think is unmatched amongst those who are running for this position. The second point I'd like to talk to you about is Andrew's knowledge. Andrew knows our procedures and our traditions and is the subject matter expert. I have sat in this chamber, I've been on Zoom, I've been in Wildcat Chamber, and when we as a body have a question about our procedures, our rules, the bylaws, invariably it's phrased like this: Andrew, can we do that? That's a testament to his knowledge. And folks, the third thing that I'd like to leave you with, this is my effort to be brief and not verbose, is a personal appeal. Those of you who know me know that I was a soldier for 22 years and that I led soldiers for most of that time. As a commander of soldiers, I set a standard for myself, a standard that I judged all other officers by. And that standard was simply this: am I being the commander I want my nephew to have? I'm a great uncle. I love my 7-year-old nephew. And I made sure that everything I did in peace and on the battlefield would make sure he would be safe. So I judge all of my officers by that standard. When I ask myself, does Andrew meet that standard? He most assuredly does. I would trust my nephew in Andrew's charge. So colleagues, once again, I urge you to consider Andrew to be our speaker. He has the knowledge, he has the experience. The administration know and respect him. And he is the sort of person I would want leading my nephew. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy, for your debate. Next up is Senator Salmon is deferring his speaking rights for debate to Hannah Heatherman. If we have any guests present, please remember that you do need speaking rights deferred to you. And again, you can indicate when you have debate and I'll denote it right now, even if it's not like our next one. But so Hannah, you have the floor.
All right, this is in Wildcat Chambers. It's pretty freaking weird up here. But my name's Hannah Heatherman. For those of you I don't know, Just a little bit of background. I first served as a senator for SGA and caucus leader, then as Speaker of Student Senate, and most recently as an intern coordinator. So this is my 4th time being up during this process, which is kind of fun. And I just kind of want to remind everybody that this is one of the best times of the term because there's 2 exceptional candidates that are literally out in the lobby, I think, like talking about their ideas for the term with each other, which speaks to like the character and the willingness to improve SGA that both of them have, which is, we're really lucky to have that. So I introduced myself because having served as speaker, I can say that like it's low-key a really hard job, and I didn't think it would be. And it rarely is for the reasons that you think it would be. I think it's easy to look at the position of speaker as a student senator and really just think about the agenda making, legislation, kind of like the things that are turning the wheel of SGA. And that's obviously important, but it's definitely the easy part. The hard parts all lie with all of you, all of the student senators, because anytime you put a bunch of people together with strong opinions, there's gonna be some friction, right? And I think that most people will adequately cover tonight why Blake is equipped in terms of his experience to handle turning the wheel of SGA. So I'm going to talk about how Blake will manage people. I think that Blake has the most unique interpersonal dynamic of anybody that I've ever met in Student Senate. And when I say this, I think it's because he manages to do 3 things simultaneously. Those are that Blake knows everything. You need tea in SGA, Blake's got it. He won't share it though. You'll tell him something and he'll say, I already know. So Blake is in the loop about everything, but he doesn't divulge it, which is that second point. He rises above. The drama is below Blake. He doesn't buy into it. He rises above. He doesn't spill his tea, but he has it, which is important because it informs him to what will happen in this room, well, that room. And he knows where the personal conflicts exist. He knows how to mitigate them, and he knows how his meetings will run because of that. But lastly, the third thing is that Blake's a friend to anyone and everyone in this body. I feel confident that everybody in this room has had at least one positive interaction with Blake and probably doesn't have a negative one. I believe that this ability to be all of these things at once makes him uniquely qualified more than anybody in this room to manage the interpersonal parts of his job. The next thing I want to touch on though is that Blake is a hardcore SGA nerd. I've known like 5 speakers, or 4, not me, but the last 5 of us all have led in ways that are so different. Nate and I are vastly different. Speakers before us were vastly different, but we've all had this one thing in common. Because when it's like 3 a.m. and you have to make that agenda that should have gone out 3 hours ago, you have to dig deep and you better love it, right? And Blake has that, and I know he has it because when I met with him to talk about why he wanted to run for speaker, I was kind of drawing back on my experience and I was like, I think I did this. And he goes, I watched the recording of that meeting 3 times. I already know you did that. Like, you're right, you recalled correctly. And Nate's that person, or Nate, geez. Blake's that person who will go back, he'll dig into those archives. He doesn't want to just know what's written, he wants to know why. He wants to know the people before the, all aspects of that history. Lastly, that love he has for SGA isn't something that's just internalized, it's contagious. I often think Blake doesn't have to try to be a leader. He's just somebody that you want to follow because of his enthusiasm and his energy. So in conclusion, I just want to say that when you're comparing candidates tonight, I want you to think about who will improve the culture of our organization, who will empower every senator to use their voice and get involved, and who will grow the future leaders of SGA. Lastly, I think it's really important, having been in this position, that you probably want a speaker who cares a little
Time.
bit too much.
Do you need extra time?
I have one sentence.
She has one sentence. Is there a motion to extend time? Moved for 5 minutes by Atchison, seconded by Kidd. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you have 5 more minutes.
I'm so sorry. And he probably cares a little bit too much about each of you, about K-State, about our student body. I believe that person's Blake Phillips, and tonight I urge you to support him alongside me.
Thank you, Hannah. With that, next on our debate order, I have, to make sure I'm correct, next up is Booz, and the next Booz, Andrew Booz, that I have is from current/outgoing Attorney General Ashton Hess. Doesn't need speaking rights because she's technically in her position still. Attorney General is weird, man.
Hey everyone, can you hear me? Am I good?
Yes.
Think so? Perfect. Yeah, you guys are lucky because you get to finish up your terms before the end of the semester. But anyway, Andrew asked me to speak for him, and absolutely. I've known Andrew throughout my time in SGA, and something that's always stood out to me is obviously his commitment to the legislative process, but his commitment to every aspect of SGA. I think the important thing to remember with this leader is, you know, they're obviously leading Senate, but there's an important collaboration that has to occur between the branches. And if we're talking people, I think you've got to talk all people in SGA. This past semester, we've really taken a crack at getting our governing documents work done. So of course, in one meeting in January, where I'm talking to Andy and Annalie, and I go, well, you know, who we should probably ask about this is Andrew. So I shoot Andrew an email and I say, hey, we're working on this. Do you have any advice? Just like, you know, little things you've seen in the governing documents that we should be aware of while we're revising this. You know, he emails me back, and weekly since that, Andrew has taken it upon himself to show up. He's done an amazing amount of work on the judicial governing documents that, you know, that time that he's committed to a branch that he's not only involved in is just amazing. You know, we did things to, you know, our governing documents that I hadn't even thought of, that we weren't even expecting to do, that made them even stronger. And I think I've always seen Andrew as a strong leader in SGA, as incredibly committed to his work. But his willingness to say, you know, I'm not in judicial branch, but I'm in SGA, and SGA is executive, judicial, and legislative, is just incredible. And I think that's important to remember, is to have a leader that not only is committed to the legislative branch, but is ready to do the work for all of SGA. Because you get up into those 7 leadership positions, and they're not just for that branch. They're for you know, the entire group. And there really is no one more qualified than Andrew to do that work. He knows the organization in and out. And I think this year, especially, we've seen with COVID, we've been challenged in so many ways. And Andrew really is the person that we go to and that we can be confident to know the answer. And I think the personal side of SGA is difficult. And I've seen Andrew navigate that. And I've seen him always committed to being analytical and to getting the work done, which at the end of the day, we need someone to get the work done. So I was happy to speak for Andrew. I'm happy to advocate for him, and I think he'd make a great speaker.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashton. With that, the next speaker for debate, so next we're on Phillips and Diaz de Leon. I have you next, Josh. So you have the floor.
Okay, hello, good evening, Senate. My name is Joshua Ray Diaz de Leon, and I've had the gracious opportunity of working side by side with Blake Phillips throughout the entirety of my time here in SGA. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. I'd like to start off my debate today by taking the time to acknowledge where we all are currently at right now. Fortunately enough, we're all here within this university, which is in the great state of Kansas. For those of you who do not know Blake personally, I'd like to introduce you to him through something we're all familiar with, and that is water. We all know that we require water to live. Now we require water to grow the food we eat, to sustain the environments in which we live in, and to ensure our bodies can regulate themselves. This is all common knowledge, right? We drink, we absorb, and folks, we pee. I look back home to where I'm from in Southwest Kansas, where it's quite literally flat, dry, windy, and dusty, but it's home. This forbidden landscape is home to one of nature's most resilient forces. The Arkansas River is 20 million years old and starts in Colorado and works its way through Kansas and dumps itself into the Mississippi River. To think that this river started with one drop of water that would be so insignificant to us, but started the process in which melted snow, rainwater, water within aquifers dared to flow downhill, in which it became a stream that did not immediately begin to make headway, a stream which collected more water, which in turn gave it more momentum, which allowed it to challenge Mother Nature herself and wear away and split rock. Water that made its way from the Rockies through our state, breaking apart rock through erosion, and even going as far as creating new land masses through the sediment this stream carried. This stream was now a river, carving itself through land, physically deciding where it would go and how it would do it. This river, made up of water from different places accumulated at different times, ensured that this river would not be harnessed by the physical land that tried to restrict its flow. We have to recognize the amazing feat of that river, which is responsible for the settlement of the American heartland and all that it went through all that it went through. But Blake Phillips, folks, will be our Arkansas River. Blake Phillips is going to be our Arkansas River, and let me tell you this. Not only will Blake ensure that we can maintain an effective and productive Senate that we have worked so hard to preserve, but he will also build off of the work that his predecessors underwent as well. Aside from keeping a lot of what previous speakers have invoked within SGA, he will also ensure that he will keep his position as the ultimate facilitator, even when things get a little spicy. I had the pleasure of interning with Blake and understand that he genuinely embodies the mission that is our SGA, making every decision based off of how it would affect students, putting student dollars to use for students. Ask yourself what a speaker should embody and then demand more, and that's what you're gonna get with Blake Phillips, folks. Blake has shown me how others who may not come from your same background can still put in the effort to hear your perspective. While Blake and I cannot be any more different than one another, he has shown me that we are very, very, very much alike. His attitude towards promoting grace and selfless leadership is outstanding. His ability to feel why you are upset and being able to get on your level is impressive. Blake will bring that passion that we all know this body deserves and will ensure that he is using students' max potential to help benefit other students. One of my favorite things about Blake is his outlook on bringing the best out of the worst situations, yet being able to acknowledge the worst of it as well. When I think of the future of SGA, I believe we have a responsibility to ensure that we put our faith in folks who have already put theirs in us. Blake will connect this body within itself and nurture the growth of all involved in it. Think about why you were elected and why you ran, because Blake Phillips would probably like to know, and he'd probably also like to know how he could help you reach that purpose. Folks, we're coming out of a crisis that we just experienced this year, in which this university is never going to forget. And how do we want to come out of this experience? How do we want to ensure that our students and how they can know that they are being led by competent leadership? How do we want a leader to act with solace and passion during a difficult time? What kind of leader do we want even when some of our own may be attacked based off of the things they can't control? How do we want that leader to react? Because while Blake Phillips may not be from where you are from, you better believe he's going to conduct this Senate the way it should be, whether you're from Johnson County, Southwest Kansas, Central Kansas, an out-of-state student, a non-traditional student, an international student. Just so you know, FYI, right? But an international student, you deserve a seat at the table. And okay, we'll give him a good second. Just know that Blake Phillips is prepared to serve you. This is going to be one hell of a year back, and we got to be prepared to jump back into it as best as we can. I'm putting my money on the guy who's going to call something out when it's wrong and also be the first to admit when he is also wrong. Blake is that drop of water, folks, in our stream that is going to feed America, or in our case, serve our university. Break ground and vote for the guy who is literally begging for you to give him the opportunity to pour his soul out for this body. Do me a favor tonight and vote for a candidate who's going to represent the SGA you want to be a part of. Vote for a candidate that dares you to be a part of the bigger picture. And thank you for your time.
Next up, I am currently looking for debate in favor of Senator Booz. At this time, I have exhausted all debate. So if you have any debate in favor of Andrew Booz, please indicate so now in the chat. Seeing none, we will then move on to debate for Phillips. Next up I have for Phillips is that Senator Grolmes deferred her speaking rights to another guest, Jansen Penny. So Jansen, you have the floor.
Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Boy, oh boy, did I not think I was going to have to follow up Josh Diaz de Leon. So you guys are going to be highly disappointed. No, but for all of you who don't know me, I'm a guest tonight. My name is Jansen Penny. I served as student body president before Tel Whitmer, and I'm here to speak on behalf and in support of Blake Phillips tonight. Really serving as a past student body president, I really have a unique experience on what it looks like and what it feels like to work with the speaker and what the speaker does on a daily basis. I worked with Blake through Privilege Fee the past couple years. Honestly, he's been a much better member than I even. I know he served as vice chair this past year, and I've also seen his work while I was in office as student body president as well. And like a couple of the other speakers have mentioned it today, I have full confidence in both candidates for the legislative duties of speaker. But as who was a speaker, Hannah Heatherman, a previous speaker who spoke before me, her and I really realized very quickly that the role of speaker goes much beyond the legislative duties. And I just want to point a couple of those out today and why I think Blake Phillips suits those strongly to serve as your next speaker of the Student Senate. There are so many things that the speaker does in conjunction with the student body president that I really see Blake fulfilling in that. One of those, serving as a co-chair of Tuition and Fees Strategies Committee, you are interacting with so many different people, sitting down with all the college deans. There are different, as we go on different trips with SGAs, you have to be ready and prepared all the time to talk with other student body presidents, talk with other speakers, talk with so many other people from Texas, Oklahoma, all these different places throughout SGA, and really form a bond and try to form a unified vision for the Big 12 as well. A lot of people don't know how much we do even outside of K-State and with legislators on the local, state, and national level. Another big thing is faculty, staff, and admin as well. Being a speaker, you have to be prepared to give criticism to sometimes the president and the provost one day, and the next day you're sitting across the boardroom table from them, and that definitely takes a lot of professionalism. It takes a lot of conflict resolution skills as well, and those are all things that I see in Blake. And lastly, it's a lot of dealing with controversy. It's a lot of dealing with people. That is nothing that we will see in the Constitution and in governing documents, but it is so important for this role. And so there are mainly three things that, from my view as a previous student body president, that I see in a speaker, and that is having a vision for change, having those very interpersonal skills, whether that's with other senators such as you, or in some of the larger things that the new speaker will be doing as well. And lastly, conflict resolution. All these things are things that I've seen in Blake. I've seen them tried and true, and I believe that he has all these qualities that will make him a great speaker if elected by you tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Next up, I am seeking debate for Andrew Booz. At this point in time again, it's flipped back there. Is there any debate for Andrew Booz? Seeing none, then Senator Colburn, you have the floor next.
Hi, my name is Lily Colburn. This past year, I served as GR chair, and previously I served as intern coordinator. In both of those roles, I kind of learned new things about Blake each time. So I will be honest in that I will repeat some of the sentiments shared by previous speakers, but I will try to keep it quick and try to introduce some new items. But I do want to most importantly kind of say what has already been said, and that we have two great candidates. I know I struggled with my decision tonight, but ultimately wanted to come up before you to kind of explain some of my thought processes. As someone who knows Andrew really well, I've served as an intern with him, alongside him when I just didn't understand his passion for governing docs, and I was like, dude, I don't get it. And he would explain it to me and we would talk about it. So I have a lot of respect for Andrew and what he would bring to this role if he wins this election tonight. I have the utmost belief in his ability to complete the role. But that being said, I've also gotten to see Blake Phillips grow and evolve through his time in SGA. I will add on a last note on this, both of them. When I was an intern coordinator, before I even met Blake, everyone said, "You're gonna love Blake Phillips. He is the next Andrew Booth." And from the time I met him, I knew that that was right. And they were paired as mentee and mentor. And I don't think there's been, some people might not like this, but I don't think there's been a better mentee mentor pairing in SGA in my time. They were made for each other and they complement each other's strengths while also bringing new things to that relationship. So we've got two great options. But as it relates to Blake, I think I knew that right away he was going to be an SGA nerd. He showed up to every single meeting really early. Him and Jeff were always competing for who was going to be there the earliest. And I love that as someone who's was always nervous that no one was going to show up. But I think that just shows Blake's willingness to show up no matter what the cost is to him. He was always there to be helpful, to provide feedback on the intern program, and to help us make that program better as it went on. I see Blake in a role as someone who tries to progress organizations and really advocates for himself and for others. I've been really impressed this year. I know that Blake said that he will stay neutral as speaker. I find that as a very valuable position, but at the same time, he also holds values as a senator and as himself really dearly. He doesn't kind of sit aside when it comes to debate. He gets in there, he makes a decision, and he makes one that I don't always agree with. We don't always fall on the same side, but I appreciate his advocacy for himself and for students. And I think he's shown that through his speech and through his campaign experience and all of those pieces. He stands up for what he believes in and year out. And additionally, through my role as GR chair, I've really gotten to see how Blake commits himself outside and above and beyond. He's someone who is way busier than I am, but would always stay for half an hour to an hour after the privilege fee meeting ended to help me set up Wildcat Chambers for the governmental relations room. I think that this just shows that Blake's commitment to helping others and being a helping hand to anyone who needs it, whether there's someone who was previously his intern coordinator or someone who's brand new to the organization, he's going to be a friendly face who will welcome anyone and everyone. And I think that's a really important aspect that he brings. And finally, I think that he's really adaptable. I've seen him change his mind and remove his name from a piece of legislation that he used to support. I saw how we would debate each other in Senate exec or on the Senate floor, and his mind would change or he would change my mind. And I respect his ability to go with the flow and adapt to the needs of the body and adapt his own understanding. I think that's really important as speaker because you never know what's going to happen. I don't think that Hannah knew that her term was going to end in a global pandemic, and I don't think Nathan thought that it was going to take the entire term for us to finally all get vaccinated, which I hope you all have. But I just want to end by saying this is a really difficult choice. I hope you take it seriously. I hope that my kind of 2 cents helped make that decision for you to vote for Blake tonight. But I do know that no matter what happens tonight, I'll be extremely proud of this organization and to be in it for my senior year. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Lily, for your debate. Next up, I am still seeking debate again for Andrew Booz. Is there any debate for Andrew at this time? Seeing none. Next up, Senator Rodriguez has deferred her speaking rights to Madison Brown, another guest. So Madison, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. So Blake Phillips has saved my ass many times, and I'm going to tell you how he one day might save yours. So to start, SGA is Blake's top priority, and he's always going to be there for you. I had the privilege of working with Blake as the vice chair on the Privilege Fee Committee, and let me tell you how dedicated this man is to SGA. Especially this year, there were countless times where last minute business came up and Blake was always willing to help. It also wasn't fun stuff. It was double checking numbers on legislation, double checking numbers on my spreadsheets, reading over legislation, deliberating for 20 minutes over the specific wording of a whereas clause, and much more. He always did it with enthusiasm, attention to detail, and a curiosity and dedication to make whatever we were working on the best that it could be. So for those who don't know, speaker is a grueling role, and there is a lot more that's done than just sitting in front of Senate. A lot is done, and it really is a full-time job. And to be honest, I think that much SGA would run a lot of people dry. But I know that all of that work only energizes and motivates Blake. If you haven't gotten the opportunity to talk to him in person, and hopefully you saw it from his speech earlier, Blake loves SGA, and his passion for students is so clear in every conversation you have with him. And that is so important because you want a speaker who is there to support, motivate you, and serve as a resource. And I know that Blake is going to be a servant leader who will make it his priority to help you with whatever you need. One quality I think that is also important is the ability to have strong interpersonal relationships and work well with others. I worked with the speaker a lot this year, and a lot of our conversations were about how to work well with people. Working with Blake, I've been able to see his ability to connect and communicate with all different types of students and faculty. He already mentioned it, sadly, but one time an institute director reached out to him instead of me. Not gonna lie, I was kind of salty, but he did a great job with it. And I think that's just one of the examples of a time that Blake went above and beyond and did something that wasn't asked of him and has made this year so much easier for not only myself, but so many other people in SGA. He really does go that extra mile, whether it's helping me set up the technology in Wildcat Chamber for privilege fee, going to meetings that he's not a part of because he truly just cares about the legislation or the topics that they're discussing. He really is always focusing on what's best for students and how he can best advocate for them. So Blake should be your speaker because he is hardworking, knowledgeable, and he's the person that you can share a laugh with at the end of a hard day or a very long SGA meeting like this one. The vision Blake has for SGA is something that can't help but make me excited, and I know he will do everything he can to inspire and encourage others.
Thank you, Madison, for your debate. I was just about to say it's in order, but Senator Blood beat me to it. So at this point in time, the motion to call the previous question, which ends debate, is now in order. That has been moved and seconded at this point in time. Are there any objections to calling the previous question? Seeing none, previous question has now been called and passed, so we will cease debate at this point in time. We will now proceed into voting right now. I am going to put a Google form. Don't we? No one objected to it. There's also no debate now pending. So that kind of fixes that. Yeah, is anyone, if there's any objections, if anyone still wants to debate, please let me know now. This is your last time, I guess. Seeing none, we will then move forward with our meeting. So we will now proceed into a vote. Voting is going to be done through a Google form that I am about to post the link to. I'm in the chat right now. Please only vote once on this Google form. Myself, Michael, Maggie, and Kelly will be verifying everyone on it. Please don't distribute the Google form. We're also going to be verifying that everyone who votes only does so once, and that they're also present at this meeting, which is why we're putting it in the Zoom chat right now. So theoretically, people shouldn't get it. The results will stay anonymous, so no one will know. The only people who will know who you voted for are Kelly, Maggie, myself, and Michael. And that's just only because we're checking and like counting the vote totals. Are there any questions before we move forward? Natalia? If you are the only person who can fill out the form twice, indicate, yes, since you're the only one with the proxy, you can fill that form out twice. Are there any further questions before we move forward? Yeah, there was one from Senator Blood. There's a question. No, this is done anonymously every year, and I'm not going to change that at this point in time. So, are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to post the Google form in the chat at this time. Please fill that out right now. It should be relatively quickly for you. And then we will give a couple minutes for everyone to fill that out, and then we will start tabulating vote totals. I believe, sorry, I just want to verify that, is there anybody still working on the form? By my count, we have everyone filling it out, but I just want to make sure we didn't pick up senators anywhere before we start tabulating. Okay, awesome. Everyone. funny how much faster you go when it's digital and sheets can count for you. So yeah, we already have it figured out. So if everyone is ready, it takes a majority vote to win speaker. I'm very happy to announce that the new speaker of the Student Senate is Mr. Blake Phillips. You all know the drill by now. So if you would like to raise your right hand, and at the end you'll say, I will. Oh, wait, we'll let Marissa come. So I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of Speaker of the Student Senate and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Congratulations, Blake.
Sorry, everyone, give me just a minute. We got this. Okay, so we will go ahead and move on with the rest of our agenda. So seeing that we have no approval of minor allocations, nothing in final action, introduction of minor allocations, introduction of legislation, we will go ahead and move into second open period. Are there any speakers for second open period tonight?
I'll resend the shout out link really quick. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, really quick before we do Senate shoutouts, I do have a quick second open period speech. So tomorrow, I know in my presentation, I talked a lot about working with people if you're interested in running for committees or anything like that. I will personally be in the Center for Student Involvement from 9 to 5 tomorrow. And so if you are at all interested in running for any position, specifically, definitely if you're interested in running for a committee chair, since those are closing soon, definitely feel free to come on in and ask me any questions, or if you want to work on anything, definitely we can do that. But also if you just have anything that you want to talk to me about in general, any questions you have, please feel free to stop by. The Center for Student Involvement, if you walk in right by the little Call Hall ice cream shop, you take a left, there'll be a welcome desk, and it's the glass box basically. So that's the Center for Student Involvement. I'll be there from 9 to 5. Just let me know. Yeah, are there any other second open period speakers before we do Senate shoutouts? Chair Booz, or Senator Booz. Oh yes, the chat. Yes, I apologize.
Yeah, get me in the camera. Gotta be in the camera. All right, anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to anyone who debated or voted for me, but I'm definitely glad to work with our new speaker on the things that we're both mutually passionate about, such as instant runoff voting or educational platforms or fees or that sort of thing. So anyway, just looking forward to that.
Awesome. Are there any questions for Chair Booz? Seeing none, Senator Colburn.
Hi, so if this was your first year in Senate, we did that speaker process a little bit differently than we have in the past. Typically, it's been a 2-week process where we would hear those presentations from the candidates. We would ask questions, then we would stop for the night, finish the agenda, have another whole week of Senate or a whole week, and then we would come back and then we would hear a wrap up from the candidates and then debate again. We decided to switch it for quite a few reasons, which I maybe won't get into tonight. But personally, as someone, I have actually run for speaker before, and someone who is now on the opposite side of it for the second year, I thought that that went really fast. And it was a little overwhelming for me to be able to pay attention to the speakers' presentations and all of the questions and everything that was going on. And I felt like things were moving really quickly, and I can't imagine how that would feel if this was your very first Senate meeting. So if you felt like it was fast, I would love to maybe have a chat about how we can maybe make this process a little bit more accessible to new senators and senators, people who have been through this speaker election, even on the speaker side of it and the candidate side of it. So the way this is a great example of things can change in SGA, and we can change them because we think they're not the best, and we can change them when we realize that that maybe wasn't the best either. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there. And maybe I haven't written a piece of legislation for a while, but maybe the first piece of legislation I write next, I'm not going to do it in April, but maybe in August will be about this if you're interested. So I just wanted to throw that out there, provide that piece of context. That's that. I'll put my email in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair Colburn, or Senator Colburn, I'm sorry. Are there any questions for Senator Colburn? Seeing none, next up we have Business Building, also known as Parliamentarian Arnold.
All right, friends. I got 2 things for you. One, if you see Nate around, go give him a big hug. He has earned that. He has worked his patooter off trying to make this thing run all through COVID. And then second, buy a t-shirt, please. Shout out to the other 8 people who have Venmo'd me since my director's report.
Awesome. We'll now move on to Speaker Pro Tem Billman.
All right, everyone, this is the last time you're ever going to hear Senate shout-outs from me, and they're going to interrupt me, so I got to go quick. Okay, someone called me Princess Diana. That's a huge compliment. Thank you. Shout out to Senator Kahlo for being my, I'm just going to go through it, for being my vet med senator buddy. This one says Bothwell Billman 24. Big congratulations to all of the newly elected senators. At Michael, nice tie and good luck. Big love. At Cameron, good luck and big love. To Nathan, thank you for an amazing year in Senate. Your leadership and compassion never go unnoticed. Someone complimented me for being the baddest and coolest person they know. Thank you for that. Lane Lundeen for being the Gordo to my Miranda. At Caleb Stout, nice flow. Lily for always making me smile. Shout out to Michael for the nice hair. Shout out to College of Health and Human Sciences senators to coordinating their outfits without even planning. Y'all look snazzy. Shout out to all the new senators installed. What do we want to do right now? I think we should. Okay, I'm gonna send all these out. Okay. Are we okay with foregoing second roll call? We're gonna forego second roll call. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a count of everyone who's been sworn in, so we'll make sure to keep that list up to date.
Yes.
But was that all the Senate shout outs?
No. Okay. Shout out to Lily for asking questions for the betterment of the body. Not everyone feels comfortable asking questions all the time, so thank you for recognizing that and making others feel more comfortable. Shout out to Senator Crosslow. As a new senator, I'm so impressed by your ability to move others. Keep it up. Shout out to Jess Binkley. I'm so excited to see what she accomplishes in SGA. Sorry, your first meeting is a 3-hour special. Shout out to Will Bannister, Senator of the Year in Waiting. Shout out to Allie DeMott. She rocks. Shout out to Marcus Kidd. He could put a smile on my face even if it was a rainy day, right after I stubbed my toe and my cat ran away. I say this endearingly because he is a rock star. Everyone who debated and voted for me, I don't know who you are, but I appreciated you. Shout out to Michael Cunningham, co-author of a resolution in his first Senate meeting. Unheard of, unprecedented Hall of Fame inductee. Before I forget, Michael Arnold told me to shout out all of the out-of-state student senators that we have here. Shout out to Joshua Diaz de Leon. Your voice could convince me to do anything. Shout out to Senator Salmon for his smart words and fashionable pants. Shout out to Megan Spleakle for being a great intern coordinator this past year and recruiting several new senators. Shout out to Andrew Booz for being a great role model and amazing member of our body. Shout out to Durga/Senator Jambunathan for her amazing work on the Arts and Sciences Diversity Summit today. Shout out to Andrew Booz. He's an incredible leader and a class act, a small setback for a major comeback. And that concludes Senate shoutouts.
Awesome. Yes, love those. I see we have a motion to adjourn until next week, same time, same hybridized place by Senator Kidd, seconded by Senator Glasscock. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the meeting is adjourned.